Chessmont Sports Network is proud to present the Battle of Brandywine, featuring the Whippets of Downingtown West and the Cougars of Downingtown East. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cotton Stadium. I'm Chuck Crow, and I am joined by Jake Collar. We get set for a big football game here Friday night under the lights. And, Jake, we know the implications. We know the battle between these two teams. West having a slight edge, 4-3, but you could just feel the electricity here in the booth.
Oh yeah. It's absolutely a maniacal atmosphere out here. A huge showing for both teams here, and obviously a semi-neutral setting. This is Downingtown West High School, but this is where East plays all their home games, so very familiar with the arena, and there's a lot of excitement in there for sure.
The Cougars, under the direction of Mike Mata in his 9th year, come in 6-1. The Whippets, under the direction of Mike Bolano, come in 6-1, so identical records at 6-1 apiece. And as you mentioned, both teams play in this stadium. And what's ironic is one team is 4-0 on the road, and one team is 4-0 at home. So obviously things are going to change here this evening, as our head official that is down there flipping the coin is Mark Lockett, and it looks as though East will receive the football, and they will be defending the the West end zone, and West will be defending the East to start this contest. So a little bit of misdirection. Sure. Exactly. Yeah. So Downingtown East, they will be in the blue and gold helmets. Downingtown West will be in the white and blue helmets as we get set for the Chessmont Sports Network Game of the Week here from Cotton Stadium. Just a reminder that we are all a part of the Chessmont Sports Network. We'd like to welcome DailyLocal.com, as well as Verizon Channel 29 and 3CTVLive.com. We will take you there. Full house, that's to be expected. Fans are still piling in. Temperatures right around 55 degrees. And the Pound is bouncing over on that far end. They are getting riled up for this one. This is a much anticipated contest. We're glad to have you aboard the Chessmont Sports Network Game of the Week. As they get set to kick off, it looks as though Chris White is going to have things teed up from the 40-yard line. And Dante Harrell will be deep.
This kid Harrell's got a good set of legs on him. Really great quickness that he brings for Downingtown East out of the backfield lately, especially since their star running back Drew Harris went down several weeks ago in that matchup against Coatesville. He's a threat from anywhere on the field if he gets his hands on the ball.
Nick Caruso, the kicker for the Whippets, who are in the white. He wears number 82. And we are underway. Ball's going to be fielded right at the 18-yard line. That's picked up by Jay Harris, and Harris just takes it right up the middle, and he's brought down at the 36-yard line. So that's exactly where we will set up shop.
It's just an absolutely electric atmosphere right now, Chuck. I can't believe it. I'm kind of on the edge of my seat and standing on my tiptoes right now. It's unbelievable, the amount of excitement in the crowd and on the field. You can see every player on the sideline is into this game. They're up for it. They're ready to go. This is going to be a good one.
Cougars are led by their junior signal caller, Kyle Lauletta. He wears number 5. Obviously, Drew Harris is injured. He will not be playing. He's the player headed off to Virginia Tech. Josh Zanizer will line up in the backfield. Riley Angeline as well, but Lauletta goes to the air first, and he unleashes a bomb to Harris, and Harris has it go in and out of his hands. The ball was there. Harris just could not bring it in. As good coverage on the play, Marquise Costello comes up with the coverage, but Harris had a golden opportunity from the first play from scrimmage.
Absolutely. That misdirection, he sold that handoff up the middle on the play action extremely well, and it just got that man-to-man coverage on the outside, exactly what he was looking for. As you see it here on the replay, he knew he was going the whole time. One-on-one, Harris is going to win that matchup every time, just slightly underthrows him, and Harris was unable to hang on.
The ball was there. Harris just could not bring it in. Pickup of maybe a couple. The ball carrier, Riley Angeline, the 6'3", 190-pound sophomore, gets his first touch as he checks out of the contest. Bring up third down and 7 for the Cougars. Lauletta will be in the shotgun.
3rd and long here already, a very important possession.
Lauletta's going to keep it. He's going to take it to the outside, cuts it back in. He's going to pick up a first down for the Cougars.
And he will do that now that they don't have Drew Harris to lean on as their star back, to the go-to guy in any kind of those crucial situations. Lauletta has no problem picking up the ball and taking it on his own legs and just taking off as he did there.
1st and 10, they spot the football at the 48-yard line. Lauletta remains in the shotgun. And he's going to keep it again. He's going to take it right up the middle. He breaks a couple of tackles, and he's pulled down right at the 44-yard line as he's now in Whippet territory.
We know Downingtown East has a very balanced attack on offense, Chuck. We know that they can throw the ball and run the ball both equally with success, and they will balance that throughout the game. And like I said, Lauletta will carry a lot of those rushing attempts on his own legs.
Sennheiser and Angeline line up in the backfield for Lauletta. And they go with Angeline. Angeline finds a nice hole, and he weaves up to pick up a first down as he's just pulled down at the 34-yard line. A very nifty move by the 5'10" sophomore.
Yeah, there's some great blocking up front, too. You'll see here on the replay the kind of gap that his offensive line is able to give him. He got up into the secondary there very quickly, though. You're right. It was a great run.
So it'll be 1st and 10. They'll spot the football right at the 34-yard line. Angeline will line up in the backfield. Harris to the top of your screen. Lauletta will look to throw again. He's got plenty of time. A lot of time. Now he's under a little pressure. He rolls to his right, and he just drops one off, and it's intercepted. Great job. It was tipped around. The pass was intended for Harris, but the interception comes up as the play was made by number 66, Jared McGill.
Yeah, McGill did a great job staying with it there. I mean, we saw that ball bouncing and tipping, and it was all over the place, kind of hit everybody's hands except for, I think, the intended receiver. But as you see here, yeah, Lauletta kind of an ill-advised pass here. He had plenty of time. As we talked about on the first couple plays of this drive, he likes to run the ball. He's got some space. He's got some green out in front of him. Instead, he stops, throws off a 1 foot across his body, across the grain. Really just not a very good pass, and Downingtown West actually able to there's a flag on the play.
Flag on the play, but credit McGill with that nice, nifty concentration to come up with the first turnover of the game, as Mark Lockett is mic'd for this contest. They're saying he will not be mic'd for this game. So Mark Lockett chose not to be mic'd. So I'll bring up a 1st and 15. They'll spot the football right at the 15-yard line. 1st and 15. Ken Furman, the signal caller, also wears number 5. And he goes with the handoff. And he goes right to Zach Barr, who gets his first touch of the ball game to pick up maybe 2 on the play.
Safety D-back Nick Dudley in there on the stop. It's a good job of gang tackling there by East. After that setback on that offensive penalty, that illegal procedure penalty, West has got a long way to go here. They're going uphill on this 80-plus yard drive they're going to have to put together here to get in the end zone.
Ball spotted right at the 17-yard line. We'll bring up 2nd down and 13. We're down to 9 minutes and 29 seconds left here in the first quarter. Ken Furman with his first offensive possession. He sits in the shotgun and looks to throw the football. And he goes to air it out. And it's down the middle, and it is knocked away. No flag. Good coverage on the play by Justin Howe, as pass was intended for Tony Calamaro.
That was another one of those situations in high school football where the quarterback wants to drop back, and he's looking at one receiver, and everybody in the entire stadium knows where he's looking as soon as he drops back, and as did the secondary in that case, because there were 3 guys milling around there. That he threw that into a lot of coverage, and it wasn't a very accurate throw. I'd like to see him check down a little bit, and I know this is an exciting game, and they're looking for the big play early, but like I said, they've got a lot of field in front of them, a long way to go. They got to start taking some chunks out of that.
Cougars trying to get their fans involved. Big 3rd down play, 3rd down and 13. Calamaro will go to the top of your screen for Furman. Furman will look to throw again. He rolls out under heavy pursuit, still up on his feet. He just gets it out while he's in the end zone, and Now, it looks as though a safety might have been the case, but they're saying he was able to get out of the... Oh, wait a minute. I think they are calling it a safety. How about that?
Wow.
Great pursuit. So a little bit of delayed action. Eric Fagioli is going to be credited with the safety.
Great play there by Fagioli. Yeah, Joe Weddy, 55, another senior defender, also in the backfield along with Fagioli. And, man, Furman had nowhere to go from the very beginning. Tries a couple nifty moves, and Fagioli just too hot in pursuit there. That's a huge turn of events.
So the Cougars strike first on defense as they come up with the safety. And it is 2-0 with 9:06 remaining here in the first quarter. So a battle of the defenses. We know how good both teams have offensive quarterbacks and a lot of offensive weapons, but the defense stands tall as they put Ken Furman under a lot of pressure, and he just had to get rid of it.
Absolutely. A tough situation for Furman to be in, and also, as well, as you were saying, with the pressure in the backfield, you know, he's got to scramble around, he's got to move and look for somewhere to go with the ball, and once he sees that paint underneath his feet and he's standing in the end zone, he starts to panic a little bit. He doesn't want to get brought down there. Obviously, he doesn't want to give up the safety, and I think he kind of lost his head there and threw the ball away, which we all know you can't do in the end zone. But tough play for Furman, and hopefully we'll get to see him bounce back a little bit next time West gets the ball.
Dylan Martin will be back deep to receive for the Cougars. Wade Mastrug also will be deep.
Definitely didn't expect to see the first points on the board go up as a 2 there, Chuck.
Exactly. Nick Caruso will elect to kick the football, and they spot it from the 20-yard line. So the Cougars are going to have excellent field position as well. A little chip shot. It's going to be fielded right at the 45-yard line. As coming up is Nick Dudley with the football, and he's brought down with in very good position for the Cougar offense. So
great break for East right there. A short field to march down now. They've already got that 2-0 lead, and they've got the momentum rolling in their direction. Crowd on their side. Interested to see what Loletta has in store for us out here.
Just a reminder, our Sports Network Game of the Week. We travel to Bishop Shanahan next week as Great Valley will have their first opportunity to show their wares here on the Chessmont Sports Network. Loletta will hand the football off to Angeline. He's up the middle. He's still moving those legs. He's pulled down close to the 30-yard line. A nice gutty run as Parker Fody made the tackle for the Whippets.
Yeah, you can see on the replay here, that's a great job once again getting to the second level of the defense. Good open field tackle there by number 19. By Parker Fody. That was an absolutely great play in the open field, though, to save that from being a big run.
Run it back to Angeline. He has a big hole. He's still up on his feet, and Angeline gets almost to the last line of defense, but it will be another first down.
Just keep on rolling straight downhill. Downtown East is steamrolling right now, and the offensive line is doing all the work up front, creating huge holes for Angeline to gash through, and he's doing a great job hitting them with big bursts of speed and getting into that second level.
Brings up 1st and 10. Ball at the 20-yard line. The quick pitch goes out to Angeline. Angeline goes wide. Still on his feet, and he's brought down right at the 13-yard line. So Tino Bunhu with the tackle.
Yeah, a little something outside after pounding it up the middle, dive, dive, dive. This time they swing it out and let Angeline try to use those long legs of his, use that speed, get to the outside, and that time West was ready for him.
Mastrug lines up in the backfield. But they go right back to Angeline, and Angeline twists and turns, and he gets down to the 5-yard line. And it will be another first down for the Cougars.
It's a huge confidence builder for a running back like Angeline, who hasn't had a whole lot of carries in his career. He's been, a second fiddle to a guy like Drew Harris and at a school like this. And, he's doing a fantastic job right now, and you could just see that he's just in control, in command right now, heading towards the end zone.
Angeline again with the ball, but he will be held short. It looks like he's going to be brought down at the 3-yard line. So 2nd down and goal for the Cougars. Downingtown East really moving the ball well in the trenches. The battle has been won thus far, holding a 2-0 lead on a safety by Eric Fagioli. Angeline lines up as the up back. He's going to get the football again. He barrels forward, but he does not get in.
I wonder if that ball came out.
For a moment there, it looked like it popped out. no signal by the officials.
Well, you can see here at the bottom of the pile there that Angeline has the ball again, so even if it came out, he's going to hang on. But he did not get across that goal line, that's for sure, Chuck.
And that is the case, so it will bring up a 3rd down and 1 as we look at it once again.
Great job recovering the ball there. It did pop out. It hit grass and everything, and Angeline was able to pull it back underneath him. That's a very difficult thing to do at the bottom of a pile like that.
Jay Harris isolated at the top of your screen, but they go right back to Angeline, and Angeline's going to get in for the touchdown. A 1-yard scamper for Riley Angeline. The 6'3 sophomore comes up with the first touchdown of the contest.
Yeah, it's a big young kid, and they just put this entire drive on his shoulders and let him just pound it up the middle, right down the field, and why not? Finish it just like that.
8-0 our score pending the extra point, but take a look at that touchdown run.
Strong kid, just keeps his legs moving. He runs a little bit tall. He's got a lot of height, but he's able to use those legs and keep them churning. And it was a very successful drive for the Cougars.
Chris White in to attempt the extra point opportunity. Snap is good. Hold is there, and it just makes it over. So White's extra point is good, and it's now 9-0 Cougars, and the defense really set the table. They put the first points on the board, good field position, and the ground attack worked like a charm for Kyle Lauletta and his offense.
Well, it's huge to take advantage of opportunities like that. Like you said, the Cougar defense came up with a big play, getting that interception there, getting the safety there, putting 2 on the board right off the bat, and then capitalizing, using that short field position you talked about, Chuck, marching right down the field and doing exactly what they planned on doing. Didn't deviate, didn't take the ball out of their runners' hands. They didn't take the pressure off of their line, kept demanding, and they kept performing over and over.
Well, there's the touchdown run by Riley Angeline. He has 9 carries thus far in the contest for 53 yards and a touchdown. As the Cougars strike first with the 2-point safety, and they come right back with the return possession and march right down the field 45 yards. And they cap it off with a 1-yard touchdown run by Riley Angeline. So Chris White will tee it up from the 40-yard line as Dante Harrell will be back deep for the Whippets. Fans still coming into Kottmeyer Stadium. A packed house. They are so far been treated to a really interesting ball game.
There's a big hole.
Big hole up the middle, as coming up with the carry was the up man, and that was Marquise Costello. So Costello wearing 44 tonight. He normally wears 32, but he is wearing 44. So Marquise Costello now wearing number 44 for the Whippets. 6:30 left here in the first quarter.
I was just going to say that was Eric Fagioli again with a big tackle in the open field that may have saved a touchdown there. There was a lot of space on the other side of him.
Furman under center. A little movement up front, so there will be a flag. Looks as though someone might have jumped.
Well, Downingtown West has a very interesting formation that their down linemen get into the 3-point stance. It's kind of a delayed thing. They get down on their elbows on the knees, and then as the signal caller gives the command, they all put their hands down for the 3-point stance at the same time. And it looked like when they did that on that particular play, East may have jumped, and they did. And it's very tricky. It's not something that you're used to seeing every week, and we'll see how they adapt to it throughout the game.
So it's 1st and 5. Furman in the shotgun. And I'll go with the handoff from the shotgun to Barr. And Barr picks up maybe 3, almost 4. We'll see where they spot the football. He might be a yard shy of picking up a first down.
Well, very important at this juncture in the game, obviously, Chuck, for West to be able to march down and get some points on the board here. They did a good job returning the ball off the kickoff and getting themselves in better field position so they weren't backed up into a coffin like they were last time when they which resulted in a safety. And this kid, Zach Barker, really run the ball. We know that. So hopefully they'll give him a chance to, get things started, just establish the run game for the Whippets and take them downfield.
Furman looks to throw. 2nd down and 1. He lets one go deep, and this could be intercepted. And it looks like it is. Good coverage on the play as Jamie Como comes up with the INT. And the Cougars have the football right at the 24-yard line.
Yeah, Como played that ball perfectly. He stayed with his man step for step, and then once he saw you can see on the replay here, once you see the receiver turn and look for the ball, so does Como. He turns, snaps, plays the ball, and he's in perfect position to jump up and come down with that interception. Beautiful play.
So defense really taking charge for the Cougars. They've already had a safety in this contest, and now their second turnover and interception by Como, as Loletta will bring the offense out onto the field. 1st and 10 from their own 24-yard line. Angeline will line up in the backfield along with Wade Mastrug. Harris to the bottom of your screen. In motion is Bond, but they go right to Angeline. He's been successful. He looks to take it outside. He takes a couple of whippets with him as he comes out from the bottom of the pile.
This young man has definitely been impressive so far, Chuck. Like I said, he's a tall guy, kind of runs a little bit upright, but his ability to keep driving those knees and, as you said, drag a couple defenders with him really impresses me. He's a big, strong kid, just a sophomore. And, yeah, you said it right there. Yeah, he's been a tough guy to break down.
Sean Goodrich in on that hit. Out to Harris. Harris has some room in the open field. He cuts it right back inside. He's still up on his feet. Harris with some nifty moves. He's still brought down, though, right at the 50-yard line. A touchdown-saving tackle on the play. And that was Dan Doherty with that tackle right at midfield. But some nifty moves by Jay Harris.
Yeah, I can't believe he even tacked on these last 20 yards. You'll see him use the float step here a couple times beautifully. Yeah, just the hesitation move. Nobody's going to tackle him in the open field when he's moving like that. Great play by Harris.
1st and 10 from the 50-yard line. Loletta will pitch it out to Angeline. Angeline, though, hit in the backfield, but still stays up on his feet. The initial hit was made by Parker Fody. Yeah, a loss of a yard on the play.
I thought that kid was going to break that tackle, too. I mean, it was a good, solid tackle by Fody. You know, in the end, the best man wins in that kind of a matchup. But, man, just Angeline just keeps moving, just keeps driving.
Actually, a loss of 2 on the play will bring up 2nd down and 12 for the Cougars. They go right back to Loletta, and Loletta picks up positive yardage, almost 4 on the carry.
Yeah, it's a dangerous thing about the Cougars, this Downingtown East team, is like we said, they are a well-balanced attack, and they can come at you from any area of the field. I mean, from the quarterback, draw up the middle, like we were seeing here on the replay, from the outside runs and the off-tackle runs and the dives with Angeline, and they've got a couple other backs they can draw upon. They go deeper there. Jay Harris making moves on the outside. It's just tough to defend a team with so many weapons.
Loletta will look to throw again. He dumps it off, and it's Bond. Bond has some room. He's still on his feet. Bond down to the 25-yard line as he's taken out of bounds, but Ryan Bond with a nice screenplay picks up another Cougar 1st down.
I guess now's a good time to mention Jack Willenbrock, number 51, big number 51 up there, who was the key to this screen that just carried the Cougars down the field 20 yards. I mean, this guy's a big guy, and we talked a little bit before the game, Chuck. You told me that he just signed with Virginia Tech, the same place as Drew Harris, and man, he just laid a sack down on somebody, crackback block to open up that space for the screen.
Loletta will keep it again himself. He tries to cut back outside, but he runs right into a couple of defenders, and he's taken back for a loss on the play.
Yeah, eventually West is going to make the adjustments that they need to stop those draws from happening, because otherwise East will just bleed them and bleed them and bleed them all game with those. So difficult to cover a quick quarterback on a draw like that, especially from a shotgun-type formation when they're having success with the pass.
2nd down and 11. Harris to the top of your screen. And there we have a flag. I think there was a little miscommunication on the offensive side of the football. So this looks like it should go against the Cougars. And that is the case. Illegal motion. So that will send them back 5 yards. We'll bring up a 2nd down and 16. 3:28 left here in the first quarter. If you're just joining us, hello, I'm Chuck Curlin, joined by Jake Holler. It has been all Cougar football, as Downingtown East has really dominated on the defensive side of the football with a couple of turnovers, and they have a safety and an interception. Loletta out to Harris. Harris is able to avoid one tackler, still on his feet. He turns it into another gear, and he's driven out of bounds right at the 26-yard line. So,
well, Jack Willenbrock really got away with a block in the back right there. That was an absolute hold there. He was doing what he could to protect Harris, who came across in motion and was going to get that short pass in the flat the whole time. As you see him, yeah, there's the pass and there's the block in the back there. Willenbrock rode him all the way down to the ground from behind. It's definitely not legal, but it wasn't caught this time, so we'll go forward.
John Stockhausen will line up in the bottom of the screen. Todd Day's in motion. Loletta's going to keep it again, but he's hit immediately. Great pressure up front, as coming in to make the tackle is Steve Mullen. A big loss on the play.
That's the type of defense that I was talking about the Whippets are going to have to show, to clog up that middle and really pursue the quarterback in order to contain that quarterback draw ability, to contain those legs of East quarterback that we've talked about, throughout the game. Great job there by the Whippets.
Brings up a 4th down and 19 as Derek Boyer is in to punt for the Cougars. Whippets looking as there's a possibility of a fake. Really no one back deep to receive the punt. Little squib kick. Takes a nice bounce for the Cougars all the way down to the... It's going to stop rolling right around the 1-yard line. So a beautiful punt set up by Derek Boyer. It's really going to put the Whippets back on their heels.
Yeah, they're back into that coffin they didn't want to be in, but this time it's not so much their fault as just a great job with the pooch punt there. And, Downingtown East just doing everything right now.
So the Whippets will come out from their own 1-yard line, 1st and 10 for Kent Furman. Backs are split. Furman's going to hand the football off. Barr tries to keep those legs churning. Gets a little bit of breathing room for the Whippets. Picks up maybe a couple.
Yeah, they're going to have to use Barr to get out of this situation right now. They're going to have to definitely ride his legs at least for 10, 20, 25 yards, give them some space and give Furman another chance to take a shot downfield.
2nd down and 7. They go right back to the outside, try to take the Cougar defense wide. That will bring up a 3rd down and 6. As you can see the pile come out as Dante Harrell gets his carry, tries to go wide with it, but good pursuit by the Cougar defense.
You'll have to see what Mike Milano draws up right here to keep Furman from ending up in the end zone.
They go right back to Barr. Barr twists and turns. He's close, but I think he's going to be short of a 1st down, so this should bring up a punting situation for the Whippets.
That's tough. He was making a few lateral cuts right there to trying to find a gap, trying to find a hole that he could burst through. I think in the end it cost him just a few inches of yardage that probably caused him to fall a little bit short of the 1st down marker. He's got to get upfield in that situation and know he's got to put his head down, his shoulder down, and just get the yardage he needs for the 1st down.
So it will bring up a 4th down and 1. Jay Harris will be deep to receive the punt. There is Harris. He has been electrifying as the punt is away by Parker Fody. And the Cougars will come back with very good field position once again. They have really taken advantage of that, and they've really controlled the ball game because of their great field position.
Yeah, I wouldn't call this performance dominant thus far in the 1st quarter, but yeah, you're absolutely right. They've been able to control the game by controlling their amount of mistakes. When they're handed opportunities, they've been capitalizing. They haven't been, making any mistakes to give the Whippets too many opportunities. In fact, they've been doing everything right in order to limit that team to staying within their own half of the field.
Josh Zonheiser lines up in the backfield with Riley Angeline. I formation, 1st and 10. And they go to Angeline. The sophomore makes a nifty move. He spins and turns, and he picks up almost 7 yards on the carry. Looks like they'll spot the football at the 29-yard line. Yeah,
that's a nice hard-nosed run right there. He met that contact, spun off it, did everything right. This kid's really impressing me right now. There he is. Look at him just eat this hit. Beautiful.
That looks like the final play of this 1st quarter as the Cougars of Downingtown East hold a 9-0 lead. And we'll be back for the start of the 2nd quarter right after these messages.
Hi, I'm Megan Treit of Thorndale at Tip. Want to drastically increase your business? Join us for a free lunch to find out how. We are a professional lead generating organization called The Tip. We meet every Tuesday from 11:30 to 1 at the Thorndale Inn in Downingtown. Join us for a free lunch and see for yourself. Visit us online at www.thorndaleatip.com.
We're getting set for the 2nd quarter of action here from Kottmeyer Stadium. Hello, I'm Chuck Curl, and I'm joined by Jake Holler. And Jake, it was all about the Cougar defense in that first quarter, and it really set the tempo.
Oh, yeah, this is an extremely exciting matchup, as we knew it would be, and so far the game has just absolutely played out the way we hoped it would. These are two tough teams that are playing really hard right now, and the defenses have kind of controlled the pace of the game thus far with a couple of turnovers and a couple of opportunities seized by East defense, pinning the Whippets deep down into their own territory, then forcing the safety, and then capitalizing on the return. So, East is doing everything right now on both sides of the ball, but really the defense has definitely been the most impressive aspect of this game so far.
Looks like we're getting set for the second quarter of action as we'll go back to live play down on the field. As a couple of flags are thrown, Kyle Loletta might have took a little bit too much time coming out to the football, and it will go against the Cougar offense.
Don't start making these mistakes now. They're making me eat my words now, Chuck.
Well, that seems to always happen. You give accolades, and all of a sudden they just chop them down.
Yeah.
Well, they'll spot the football at the 34-yard line. We'll bring up a 2nd down and 8.
Cougars have all the momentum here. They need to keep riding it.
Sennheiser will line up with Angeline in the backfield. They go to Angeline. Riley takes it to the outside, still keeps those legs churning. He's brought down at the 30-yard line. Tino Bunhu, the initial hit to stop the forward progress of Angeline.
Yeah, Downingtown West defense is really losing the battle up front to those big linemen of the East Cougars. But in the second level, the linebackers and D-backs are doing a great job closing on Angeline and not letting him get too large of chunks at a time on some of these runs. He's doing a great job yards per carry, but they're limiting him, which is an asset.
Bond in motion. And they go back to Angeline. Angeline keeps the legs moving again, but it's not enough for a Cougar first down.
Again, he's going to get 2, he's going to get 3, he's going to get 5 and 6 on some of these carries, but they're not letting him pass that second line of defense, which is enormous because he could have broken many of these open for long runs by this point.
Walletta looks over to his head coach, Mike Mata. It's 4th down and a long 2. Angeline, along with Sennheiser, will line up in the backfield. I formation. Jay Harris to the top of your screen. Bond in motion. Walletta will look to throw the football. He's got some time. Harris has beat the defender, and the catch is made. Beautiful strike from Walletta to Harris. A 28-yard touchdown strike. Marquise Costello on the coverage, but he was beat. Once again, you said he was going to have a tough time covering Harris, and that was evidence right there.
That's exactly what they were looking for. Once again, you knew it the whole time. Walletta's looking for his man, Harris. He had him in the one-on-one coverage. This is East's dream right here in this situation. 4th and 2, they know the Whippets are looking run. They know they're looking for the power game. Instead, they fake it up the middle, and they just look to Harris to do the rest in the corner of the end zone. Bingo.
The extra point looks to be good as Chris White is now 2 for 2, and it makes the score 16-0 Cougars. So a little bit of a shocker here in this first half of play.
Yeah, but it's, 16 is really with the 2-point conversions. It's still a 2-possession game. Really we're just looking for the Whippets to get on the board here. If they can score and kind of stop this steamrolling momentum that East has been riding throughout this first half so far, then, they're still very much in this game. And the atmosphere has not changed, Chuck. I mean, you could look out here and see. People are still going nuts on both sidelines. West side, the pound over there is a little bit quiet right now, but they'll get back into it. Nobody's given up on this game at all yet.
Were you surprised with the call by Coach Mike Mata, 4th and 2, and he chose to put it up in the air when he was getting a lot of pressure up front with his sophomore running back Riley Angeline?
Well, yeah, a little bit surprised, but, it definitely wasn't the wrong call, obviously. It gets them 7 on the board. But at the same time, when you've got a quarterback like Walletta, who, as we've said, multiple times in the broadcast already, can take off and run with it, you fake the ball up the middle, the play action is going to distract a few of those defenders regardless of whether Harris is going to get open or not. And that just gives Walletta a chance to bootleg out to the left and look for some space to run if he can't connect with Harris. So, I mean, it was a great play call. I'm a little bit surprised by it, but, soundproof.
White will kick it away. Zach Barr lets it go right through the wickets. Loose football, and he picks it up right, and he's brought down at the, 7-yard line. So a mental breakdown there by Barr. And the Whippets now back on their heels once again, and it seems to be a reoccurring theme here this evening.
Well, Barr needs to pick himself up right now for sure. His teammates need to pick him up. He needs to get his chest back up and his chin back up because he's going to have to put the ball right back in his hands right here and try once again to get them out of this terrible, dismal field possession.
10:39 left here in the first half. 16-0 our score. It has been all Cougar football thus far. Downingtown East has really taken command of excellent field position as Furman will set in the shotgun. In motion is Tim Hamill. They go right up with Barr, and Barr takes a couple of defenders with him. The initial hit was made by Ryan Duffy.
This is a big possession here, Chuck, for sure. I mean, like we just said, it's a two-possession game. They need West needs to be able to keep it to at least that. And a key to being able to do that is going to be just marching up the field and changing over this field position. Even if they don't get in the end zone as a result of this drive, they need to be able to push the Cougars back and stop giving them these short fields to march down.
2nd down and 7 from the 11-yard line. Harrell in motion, but they go right back to Barr. Barr breaks a couple of tackles, but he's brought down close to the 15-yard line.
Yeah, he really had to bounce it outside there. There really wasn't much up front. Downingtown West line definitely lost that battle on that play.
Nick Dudley credited with the tackle on that play. 3rd down and 3. Backs will be split for Furman. Furman will look to throw the football. He's got plenty of time. For a moment there, I thought he was going to keep it himself, but just threw it haphazardly, and it will bring up a 4th down play for the Whippets.
Good coverage there by the Cougars. Furman had his man on the outside in one-on-one coverage, exactly what he was looking for. By the time he rolled out there, there was nowhere for him to go.
Credit the Cougar defense. They've done a nice job really mixing things up and making it difficult for Ken Furman to try to get this offense in gear. Jay Harris will be deep. He sets up camp at the 45-yard line. Punt is away by Fody. It's a good one. He goes all the way back to the 46-yard line. Harris has some speed. He takes it down that sideline, looks to cut it back inside, but he's just caught at the 32-yard line. But a nice return by Jay Harris.
I'm not sure if that was 36 Dylan Martin. I don't know if we could get a replay on that and check it out. But somebody laid an enormous block on the sideline of the Whippets over there to spring Harris for an extra 10 yards at the end of that return. Really nice job. This is what I'm just talking about with the East team, though. I mean, they're sound. They're solid all the way around. They're not making mistakes. They're capitalizing on opportunities, and everybody's doing their job. From the linemen up front winning those battles in the trenches to guys laying blocks like that on kick returns to give them this field position. They're playing arena football right now. I mean, they haven't seen more than a 50-yard drive in this entire game, and it's all credited to the big players doing the small things.
That is a good point. Stockhausen will line up at the top of your screen as Loletta will look to throw again. He's got plenty of time. He looks for Harris again, and Harris comes up with his 2nd touchdown reception of the ballgame. A 31-yard strike from Loletta to Harris. And all of a sudden, we have ourselves a blowout here in the first half.
Unbelievable. I don't think anybody's covering Harris. That time it was Sean Goodrich taking his turn, and he was beat by a step or two right off the line of scrimmage. As you can see here, Loletta knows exactly where he's going. He's not trying to trick anybody. I don't think he's even looking at any other receivers, but drops back, nice and calm, stays in the pocket. And, Harris has 3 steps on Goodrich right there. That's a tough play for any D-back in this league to make on a guy as quick and agile as Harris.
White will look to try to complete his 3rd extra point, and it looks like he done just that. So Chris White is 3 for 3 for extra points. It is 23-0. The number might be a little cockeyed because of the safety by Eric Fagioli, but that's where we stand here in the first half of play with 9:16 remaining. Now, still plenty of time for Downingtown West to make a run.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's difficult for Furman and his offense to get things rolling with the field position that they've had, and that's where their defense has to step up. The Whippets defense has to step up, put more pressure on Loletta, stop allowing him to have time to make those easy throws to Harris that go deep for 6 every time. There's Harris right there, all pumped up, as he should be, having a great game. But, it's the Whippet defense that really needs to step it up and start putting some more pressure on these Cougars and giving their offense better field position and a little bit more of a breather out on the field.
Also have to credit Kyle Loletta with a couple of nice touchdown throws. Harris has 3 catches for 84 yards and 2 touchdowns on the day. Kyle Loletta with a couple of nice strikes. He's really thrown a good ball here in the first half for the Downingtown East Cougars.
I think at halftime there's definitely going to be some coverage mix-ups here in the locker room for sure. The Whippets are going to have to figure out how to cover Harris.
Marquise Costello will be deep along with Zach Barr. Barr will field it this time around from the 22. Barr will look to take it wide to the outside, and he's just tripped up at the 40-yard line. A touchdown-saving tackle by Nick Dudley, because there was a lot of room for Barr to work down that sideline. So Dudley comes up with a nice shoestring tackle.
Yeah, great return by Barr there. That was all on him, too. He made the moves. He created the space. And like you said, Nick Dudley doesn't make that tackle. He's going to pay dirt for sure. Man, the Whippets could really use a play like that right now.
Furman will sit in the shotgun. 1st and 10. Best field position of the day for the Whippets as they have the football at their 41-yard line. This time they go to Harrell, and Harrell is hit hard right at the 46-yard line. He took a pop by number 41, and that looks to be Eric Fagioli. We talked about Fagioli coming up with the big safety. He just made a nice hit on Harrell.
Yeah, he's a hard hitter, and he's got a nose for the ball for sure. Kid's out there playing hard, and I don't think Harrell was ready for that. That was his first carry of the game.
8:43 here in the first half. They go right back to Barr. Barr looks to take it wide. He's got some speed. Barr still on his feet. Cuts it back, and he's just tripped up, but he has enough for a Whippet first down. And you can see the acceleration by Barr. He knows how to pick his spots, and he goes into an extra gear, but we do have a flag on the play. Now the Cougar defense is saying it's against Downingtown West.
Which would be a shame. That would be a mistake shooting them in the foot just when they were starting to get the ball rolling a little bit, and Barr was starting to get a little bit of confidence and make his cuts. Yeah, it looks like they are walking backwards.
Block in the back as Mark Lockett makes the call. And remember, it comes from the spot as we'll look at the play once again.
You can see Barr having to bounce it to the outside, like I said, because that offensive line is having a difficult time creating gaps up front. But once he gets outside, you're right, that acceleration ability that he has really helps, but none of it matters if they're going to commit penalties and drag themselves backward.
So they'll spot the football at the 36. It will bring up a 2nd and 15 now for the Whippets. Furman will remain in the shotgun. And there is a flag on the play. Tim Hamill was in the slot. And here is the call by Lockett. And it will be an illegal motion.
That's so tough right now for Downingtown West. I mean, they're, like you said, this is the best field position that they've had all game, and they just kind of gave it back. Just when they were starting to get some momentum rolling, they're shooting themselves in the foot. I'm looking across the field, and I can see the pound is getting up, and they're getting excited, and they're not worried about a 23-0 deficit yet. But, you keep making mistakes like that, you're killing the buzz in the stadium, and it's really just not going to help your team progress.
2nd and 20 from the 31-yard line. Furman will go right back to Barr, and Barr runs into a host of Cougars as the initial hit looks like it was Nelson Lucas Murphy.
This Cougar defense is big and physical, and they like to hit. All these guys are real amped up right now. See if we can catch Lucas Murphy. Yeah, it's a big stick, and there's 7 bodies right there for Barr to run through. That's a difficult situation for any back to be in, but the Cougars keep putting Barr in that same scenario every single down.
3rd down and 19. Harrell in motion. Furman looks to evade, but there is a nice sack on the play by Milton Ashburn Hearns. Comes in with the sack for the Cougars.
Yeah, Milton Ashburn did a great job right there containing Furman, not allowing him to roll out and find somewhere to go with the ball on the outside. Furman's limping off now. That's going to kill West if that's anything serious. Yeah, you see here, Furman tries to roll out, and he's just absolutely not going to be allowed. Milton Ashburn waiting for him. Big high hit. It's good football, Chuck.
Sure is. Dylan Martin also in on the play. Another punting situation. Fody gets it away. Harris is back deep. He receives the punt at his own 46-yard line. Cuts it up the middle, twists, and he's brought down right at the 44. So very good field position once again for the East Cougars.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier that, West's #1 priority right now should be just pushing upfield as far as they possibly can and changing over that field position advantage so that it's not so heavily favoring the Cougars. They started to do that at the beginning of their last drive, ended up getting knocked backwards, shot themselves in the foot a few times with penalties, got off a good punt, but Harris got off a good enough return that Cougars are right back here in Whippet territory already.
Lauletta is 4 for 6 for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. Bond in motion. And he'll go to Angeline. Angeline cuts it back up the middle, breaks a couple of tackles, and he's going to have another Cougar first down. Angeline has really done a nice job keeping those legs moving.
Yeah, he's doing a great job of playing some power football right now. He's not the quickest lateral mover. He made a couple cuts there that were well timed, but they also just gave him an opportunity to use his size to break tackles and push forward for more yardage. He's an exciting guy to watch play for sure.
Sean Goodridge in on the tackle for the Whippets. 1st and 10 now for the Cougars. They have the football at the 33-yard line. They go right back to Riley Angeline. Angeline brought down on the play. Steve Mullen, the initial hit for the Whippets.
Yeah, you saw Steve Mullen reach his arm over the top of the shoulder pads there, too. He's thinking strip, strip, strip. The defense needs a big play here. We mentioned that they need to put more pressure on Lauletta, but at this point, they're going to need to cause a turnover and really give themselves an opportunity to put some points on the board here. And they know that. They know that. They're up for this game.
Sean Goodridge checks out defensively for the Whippets. Jay Harris now to the bottom of your screen. He already has 2 touchdowns. Could it be 3? He is the target. Lauletta lofts it up there, and it's knocked away at the last moment. Harris was there. Costello was there defensively along with Parker Fody.
Yeah, that's a little bit easier of play for the secondary to make on the Whippets side. You see here in the replay, this time Lauletta didn't really get a great throw off. He kind of lofted it up there. It's in the right area, but Harris just had to wait way too long, and the defense got there well in time.
So it's 3rd down at 8 for the Cougar offense. Harris will be in the slot as John Stockhausen will be to the top of your screen. Lauletta look for the screen. He gets it out to Bond, but Bond just couldn't come up with the reception, and it will bring up a 4th down for the East Cougars.
That's a big break for the Whippets right there. Bond had maybe 25 yards of green right in front of him with several blockers. I think he's probably going to make that one all the way into the end zone if he catches that pass. Great job by Lauletta hanging in there in the pocket, taking a little bit of contact and still completing the screen pass, something that's very difficult to do.
Riley Angeline, 16 carries thus far in the contest for 80 yards.
Yeah, Lauletta just came off the field because the punt team came on, and he was a little bit confused and maybe a little bit upset about that decision. He wants to keep pushing forward and putting the ball in the air to Harris and keep putting points on the board.
Kozlowski's punt is right around the 3. It's going to roll down to the 2-yard line. So another nice punt by Eddie Kozlowski. The 6'2 junior coming up big.
There's nothing you can do about that from Downingtown West sideline. I mean, you did what you needed to do right there. You stopped the Cougars. When they had short field, you forced them to punt. And what do? They pin you on the 6-inch line.
So that has been the storyline thus far, the field position. The Whippets have really had a tough time thus far. It seems like they've been working on their end of the field the entire night here in the first half of play. We're down to 5:26 remaining as they trail 23-0. Harrell in motion, but we do have a stop of play. Whistles are blown, and this is normally against the offense.
Well, I don't think they can back him up too much further.
You're right. Mark Lockett will have the call. Here it is. Actually, it will go against the Cougars. Encroachment. So the Whippets will benefit from that, 5 yards.
Caught a little bit of a break, a much-needed break there. Talked about how the Cougars were definitely winning the battle, and the mental battle up front, and not committing nearly as many mistakes or mental errors, and there was a big one right there, giving Furman a little bit of breathing room.
Zach Barr, the lone back for Ken Furman. And Barr right up the middle. Nice, strong run. He gets out to the 11-yard line, but I think he's going to be just shy of a first down, so it will bring up 2nd down and less than a yard.
Here's Barr just following his lead blocker right up the middle. Doing a good job, just gaining yards, pushing forward. they're going to really rely on him, I'm sure, in the second half to really get them going, spark some big plays and some quick scores.
Dante Harrell will line up in the backfield with Zach Barr. He's now going to drop down to the slot. Shotgun formation for Furman. And we do have an official timeout. It looks as though actually the Whippets will elect to take a timeout with 4:43 left here in the first half. And this is a big possession for the Whippets because obviously they trail by 23. They want to keep the ball and they want to put something on the board before the end of this half. But we talked about it between the first and second quarter. The Cougar defense has really stood its ground here today.
Yeah, they've been playing great football. It's been really difficult for the Whippets to get any kind of momentum rolling in their direction. But you're absolutely right. This is a huge possession for a number of different reasons. The Cougars elected to receive the ball to start the game, so the Whippets will start the second half with the ball. And if they can eat up some clock here, just build some momentum, build some confidence, maybe ride Barr a little bit downfield, eat up some clock, not allow the Cougar offense back on the field before the end of the second half, or first half, I'm sorry, and maybe even get some points on the board at the end of it, then that's huge for morale, that's huge for confidence, and for being able to set up a game plan for success in the second half.
So it will bring up a second down and less than a yard for the Whippet offense. Furman will sit in the shotgun. Harrell in motion. They go with the pitch. Dante Harrell has some speed to the outside. He tries to cut it back, and he's going to be very close, but it looks as though he will have the first down. You can just tell by the body language by the chain gang, as we'll look at this once again.
Yeah, Harris knows exactly where he needs to get to. Barely gets there, but yeah, he does. He leans his shoulder in and knows he needs to fall forward and get enough yardage. Great play there.
So the 6-foot junior comes up with the first down for the Whippets. 4:25 left here in the first half. They go right back to Barr, and Barr breaks a tackle and stumbles forward. He gets to almost the 17-yard line.
Well, they've got a long way to go yet, but so far so good as far as our game plan of riding Barr out, riding the running game out, and just trying to eat up some clock and take back a little bit of control of this game. Because you've said it a couple times that the biggest one-sided factor in this game has just been the control of the pace, the control on both sides of the ball has been in the Cougars' side of the field.
They go right back this time to try to mix it up, and Harrell breaks a tackle, and it's a foot race. Here comes Harrell. He is really going, and he's turning it into another gear. Dante Harrell is going to get in for the touchdown.
Huge play. I got to see the replay to even see what happened there. I saw, close to 22 bodies piled up, and then all of a sudden Harrell comes out on his own, and he's just flying away. Unbelievable.
An 83-yard touchdown run by Dante Harrell. The 6-foot junior comes up big, and the Whippets are on the board with 3:41 left here in the first half.
Well, he kept hearing me talk about Barr, I think he took it personally. He said, I could take this on my shoulders. I'll take this on my shoulders, Jake, and I'll take this team down into the end zone for the first time tonight.
Nick Caruso will come in to attempt the extra point. It's now 23-6 pending this extra point. So Caruso will look to kick the football. What a turn of events as the extra point looks to be good. And it is now 23-7, but Dante Harrell from 83 yards out. That play took some time to develop, but he came out of the pile and just kept moving downfield. Yeah,
it was a great play, and it was a game changer for sure for the Whippets. And we talked about them putting together a sustained drive and running out a little bit of clock, but I'll tell you, I guarantee that they'll take a quick score like that just to put some points on the board. Now it's back. The pressure's back on their defense to do something, make something happen here against East. Loletta's going to come out, and I'm sure after they punted in that last situation and now West has made them pay for it, he's definitely going to want to fire away. So, the Whippets need to be ready on D, and they need to make something happen to get their offense another chance to get back out there before the end of the half.
Well, Dante Harrell has 4 carries for 91 yards, but 83 of them came on that last play.
That's okay.
As the Downingtown West Whippets are now on the scoreboard with 3:41 remaining. Just a reminder that next week, the Chestmont Sports Network will feature a Saturday afternoon contest. Great Valley will be at Bishop Shanahan. We hope you're able to join us right here on the Chestmont Sports Network, all a part of dailylocal.com and 3CTV Live, as well as Verizon Channel 29. That's next Saturday, an afternoon affair with Great Valley at Bishop Shanahan. Caruso will get set to kick for the Whippets.
pound is pounding over there.
The ball's fielded right at the 10-yard line. As it comes out, as the Dylan Martin returns the football, and looks like they're going to spot it right at the 40-yard line. Well, let's say, I should say, the 37-yard line. As we try to see that. 3:35 remaining.
Downingtown West fans are into this game. I mean, I've told you, all along, I've been keeping my eye on them, and they have not taken themselves out. They haven't removed their support, and now it's just stronger than ever. This place is rocking right now, Chuck.
Loletta, I formation. In motion is Bond. He'll hand the football off. Angeline breaks one tackle, but not enough, as coming up with a nice defensive play was Danny Specca. So Specca, the 5'11 junior, wouldn't let Angeline break free, and he loses a yard on the play. 2nd down and 11. Clock continues to move. 3:15 left here in the first half. Loletta will drop in the shotgun. Harris will be in the slot. And he's going to keep the football himself. Loletta breaks one tackle and stumbles forward. He gets out to like the 37-yard line.
Nice recovery there by the Whippets D. I kind of thought that they were going to break down and give up a lot more than that to Loletta, because they were thinking the same thing I was thinking with that arsenal of wideouts split out wide to the far side of us. I definitely thought Loletta was going to air it out.
It will bring a 3rd down and 5 for the Cougar offense.
This is that scenario where East becomes so dangerous because of all their weapons and options in a situation like this.
Todd Day's in the slot here, but Loletta will keep it again himself. He'll have a 1st down and some. Kyle Loletta is going to try to take it to the 35-yard line. Nice stutter step to pick up a couple of extra yards, as Tony Calamaro in on the tackle along with Parker Fody.
Exact same formation, exact same play right there. He went right back to the legs of Loletta to get it done. I mean, they're just looking for a 1st down there and break off an extra 20 yards. They'll certainly take it. Great blocking. Look how far upfield the linemen are. Clearing space. Great blocking. Great play.
Penalty on the play. And looks as though this might go against the Cougars. So movement on the offensive side of the football will set them back 5 yards. They'll spot it right at the 41-yard line.
Again, though, that run by Loletta got Downingtown East Cougars into Downingtown West territory once again, which, you know, it was the first time in a while that they hadn't started out there. So they're back into familiar territory now, and I'm sure Loletta's smelling blood. Angeline
just barrels up the middle as he's hit hard on the play and brought down by number 78. That's Drew Chambers. And they said McGill also in on the play. They're going to say a loss of a yard on the play. 2nd down and 14. Bond in motion. They go back to Angeline. Angeline cuts it back. He weaves through a couple of defenders, but he's brought down right at the 36-yard line.
This is going to be an interesting situation depending on what happens here on 3rd down, because this is another one of those scenarios where it could be 4-down territory for the Cougars. Though last time they elected to punt to a short field and were able to pin the Whippets on the 6-inch line, which also led to the Herald touchdown. So, you know, this should be an interesting situation to watch play out.
Dan Doherty in on that last tackle for the Whippets. Shotgun formation for Loletta. He's going to keep it again. Looks to take it wide. For a moment there, I thought he lost the football. I think he did. Because the Whippets on that far sideline say they have the football. We'll wait for the official notification. Loletta got a little fancy with that football. Did he lose it? Everyone's pointing on that far end, and that is the case.
Huge. That's exactly what they were looking for. That defense needed to force a turnover. There's a little bit under a minute left to play, but decent field position for the Whippets to start with. They get the ball back in the 2nd half. This is a chance for them to really climb well back into this game. Just coughed it up. Great job tackling. Great job pursuit by the Whippets.
So the Whippets will have the football at their own 35-yard line. 54 seconds remain here in the first half. They trail 23-7. Furman will sit in the shotgun. Barr will be in the backfield. by his side. Plenty of time. He lets one go, but it looks like Harris is going to be there, and he's going to come up actually with Nick Dudley with the interception, and he's going to give the favor right back to the Cougars.
That was a bit of a desperate move there by Furman. He really didn't have his man open. He really didn't have the arm strength to get that ball to where it needed to be. He kind of threw up a duck there. It hung up in the air forever, and Dudley was easily able to get to the spot and pull it down. That's a shame. That's a bummer. That was an awesome opportunity for the Whippets to have before the end of the half. They kind of, let that opportunity go, and, it comes right back to capitalizing on those chances, Chuck.
Furman is 0 for 4 in his last 4 pass attempts with 2 interceptions. And he just gives the football right back to the Cougar offense, who've been able to work some clock as we're down to 39 seconds left here in this first half.
I mean, I definitely understand wanting to stretch the field and take your shot and score quickly and definitely keep pushing the pace while the momentum is yours. I get that, but your playmakers all game have definitely been Harrell and Barr. I think if you're going to air it out, you do something short over the middle or in the flat to them and give them some open space to work with. Maybe send them to the sideline to maintain the clock a little bit. Trust me, I get the idea of stretching the field. I'm all for it, but that was just an unsuccessful attempt that really just set them back big time as far as momentum and confidence go in their offense.
Kyle Oletta now with 4 for 8 and 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. He has 7 carries as well for 43 yards in the ball game. So offensively, he has really done his job. Well, we're down to 39 seconds left here in the first half as both teams come out to the football, and we'll see if Mike Mata will get a little greedy and try to go for a home run here at the end of this first half, with just 39 seconds remaining. Days in motion. Oletta will look to throw. He gets it out to Todd. Todd cuts it back, but he's brought down by Zach Barr right at the 42-yard line. Costello in on the play as well.
Yeah, quick timeout there by Downingtown East. They're definitely going to try to score here again and get back those 7 that they gave up on Harrell's long touchdown run. In a big rivalry game like this, high emotion, high incentive for both teams for sure. Plenty of people watching, as you can see. You definitely don't want to take your foot off the pedal too early, and you let a team like West climb back into it and make it a game, then all of a sudden the control is no longer yours. We talked about controlling the pace and even controlling the scoreboard at this point is obviously the most important thing. So I guarantee we're going to see East try to score here.
So with the timeout on the field, just a reminder that next week the Chestmont Sports Network will feature Great Valley at Bishop Shanahan. That will be a Saturday afternoon contest. We hope you're able to join us, all a part of the Chestmont Sports Network. Loletta will remain in the shotgun. 2nd down and 4 for the Cougars. And we do have a whistle, so the play will come to a halt. And that is normally something that will go against the offense.
It looked like one of those far side receivers jumped a little bit. When I see John Stockhausen, number 14, a few yards ahead of Harris off the snap, off the line, I think he probably left a little bit early.
Lucas Restrepo having a few words as well.
It'll be 3rd and 9 at the 46. Second and 9.
2nd down at 9. 27 seconds remain here in the first half. It's a 16-point Cougar lead, as they're going to try to put some more points on the board here in the final seconds of this first half. They have the ball at the 46-yard line after the penalty is marched off. Oletta looks over to Mike Mata. Restrepo will line up to the bottom of your screen. John Stockhausen to the top. Harris will be in the slot. Now the fans start to get into this here in these final seconds. Lauletta with a long snap count. He's going to keep the football himself. He finds a hole. Lauletta takes to the outside, still up on his feet, and he's knocked out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Parker Fody in on the play for the Whippets.
Lucas Restrepo is a near side receiver, number 15 for East, and he just held a enormous block in the secondary that really down the line sprung. Yeah, was able to spring Lauletta, give him some space, and able to allow him to drive down all the way. What are we on the 30-yard line now? That was a great block by Restrepo.
Lauletta with a hard snap count. Gets rid of the football. And knocked out of bounds right at the 20-yard line was Lucas Restrepo, right on cue. So we're down to 20 seconds remaining here in the first half. Cougars looking to add to their 16-point lead.
I like that. You scratch my back, I scratch yours, right? You know, that's the biggest reward you can give a receiver is the ball. They all want it. They all want it all the time. So, you know, he had a great block and sprung a great play for Lauletta on the play before and drops down and gives him the ball.
Ball marked at the 24-yard line. 2nd down and 4 for the Cougars. Lauletta will keep it himself, but he's brought down from behind. Good pressure on the play. And Doherty in on the tackle.
Yeah, Dan Doherty looked like he came on a little bit of a delayed blitz there and shot right through the gap and just closed up immediately before Lauletta had anywhere to go.
So another timeout on the field with 13.4 seconds remaining. Just a reminder that once again, next week, we will be at Bishop Shanahan as they will be hosting Great Valley. In other Chestmont indications, it looks like Henderson leads Coatesville at the half, 14-7. So a 14-7 halftime lead for Henderson over Coatesville. Remember, Coatesville had a tough battle here with Westchester East on one of our telecasts here, part of the Downingtown East, I should say, part of the Chestmont Sports Network.
Yeah, everybody's watching that game throughout the league, trying to see who's going to climb into first place, sole possession of first place after tonight. And these teams will definitely be interested after they're done playing tonight, see who won that game and who they're going to set their sights on.
So a big 3rd down play for the Cougars. Lauletta looks to throw again. The ball is deflected, and Lucas Restrepo was the intended receiver. But all of a sudden, Steve Mullen had a lot of open real estate if he was able to come up with the interception here.
Yeah, Mullen does a great job reading Lauletta here. Lauletta drops and looks right over to Restrepo. They know he wants to go quick to the sideline where the clock will be more manageable, and Mullen just did a great job anticipating that pass.
4th down and 5 from the 25-yard line. John Stockhausen will go to the top of your screen. Diaz in the slot. Restrepo and Harris to the bottom of your screen. Lauletta, plenty of time. He's looking for Harris. And Harris comes up and makes an unbelievable reception. Harris with his 3rd touchdown pass of the game from 25 yards out from Lauletta. And that is a highlight reel reception for Harris.
That was incredible. I watched Harris right off the line. I'm sure all eyes were on Harris. That's just unbelievable. Here's the replay you're watching. From the very beginning, Harris runs like a wheel-type route where he uses Restrepo almost as a screen man at the bottom of the field there, and then he just sprints right up the sideline. Lauletta knows exactly where he's going to be, tosses it up, and lets the athleticism of Harris do the rest. That was unreal.
3rd touchdown of the day for Jay Harris as the extra point is up and good for Chris White. And it's now 30-7 Cougars as Lauletta has 3 touchdown passes, and they've all come by way of Jay Harris.
That's so tough. That's so tough for the Whippets right now. I mean, absolutely huge for the Cougars. They wanted to score there, and they wanted to do it in big fashion. And why not go back to your playmaker, to the most exciting guy on the field right now, Jay Harris, to do it? That takes the wind right out of the Whippets' sails for sure.
Just 4 seconds remaining. That is what's unbelievable with just 4 seconds remaining. It is really a backbreaker for the Downingtown West Whippets. So the Cougars will get set to kick as Chris White will bring the kicking team out to the football. as Zach Barr will be back deep, along with Marquise Costello and Dante Harrell. 4.3 seconds left here in the first half. A big touchdown play from Loletta to Harris, and it really took the wind out of the sails of the Whippets, who seemed to be mounting somewhat of a comeback. They came up with a big turnover, but they were unable to capitalize, and the Cougars just pounced right back and come up with another big touchdown play. White's kick will be short. It's fielded right at the 30-yard line, as coming up with the football was Dan Miller. Tackle made by Eric Fagioli, and that will be the final play of this first half.
It was definitely a good one. Did not disappoint. High scoring, maybe only on one side, but still a hard-fought game, and I really don't think that the Whippets consider themselves out of this competition at all.
We'll take a look at that last play, as it was a very exciting play by Jay Harris.
Yeah, this catch is unreal. Just the focus and athleticism he uses to hang up in the air for that long and still keep his eyes on the ball and pull it down in the end zone. That's you just don't see that very often.
It's halftime here from Kottmeyer Stadium. The score, Cougars 30, Whippets 7. We'll be back with more right after this, all a part of the Chessmont Sports Network.
Hi, I'm Megan Treit of Thorndale at Tip. Want to drastically increase your business? Join us for a free lunch to find out how. We are a professional lead generating organization called The Tip. We meet every Tuesday from 11:30 to 1 at the Thorndale Inn in Downingtown. Join us for a free lunch and see for yourself. Visit us online at www.thorndaleatip.com.
Welcome to the historic Rising Sun Inn, nestled in the rolling hills on the border of Bucks and Montgomery County. Our newly renovated dining room features the original large stone fireplace that has the distinctive character and charm of colonial days. The Rising Sun Inn offers a wide range of chef-driven menu items, including soups and salads, pasta entrees, bison specialties, and late-night fare. Our bar has a cozy neighborhood feeling with a unique bison-themed decor. We offer entertainment every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night, featuring some of the area's best live bands. The Rising Sun Inn is also perfect for your next corporate or social gathering. Private and semi-private rooms, including a refurbished 18th century barn, are available. Please inquire at 215-721-6350. Seating for up to 100 guests. The Rising Sun Inn also has ample convenient parking. For hours and more information, please visit www.risingsuninn.net or call us 215-721-6350.
Lionfield Technology Solutions provides simple, effective IT services to Phoenixville and the surrounding communities. With over 40 years of combined experience, we offer server installation, technical support, and systems management to small and mid-sized businesses. We also provide high-speed internet connections, wireless networking, email, virus protection, and website design. Please call our office for a free IT assessment or visit us on the web at www.lionfield.com. Lionfield, leading the pack in simple, effective IT solutions. The Stove Shop in Phoenixville is one of the largest fireplace centers in the Philadelphia area. Since 1977, we have offered homeowners an economical way to save money on their home heating bills. We feature quality stoves and inserts from Vermont Castings for wood, coal, pellets, or gas. Please stop by our showroom at the corner of Route 29 and Pothouse Road to speak with one of our fireplace and stove experts and see dozens of burning samples. The Stove Shop. We are the fireplace and stove experts.
You got to play hard for 48 minutes, and they're going to play pretty. You know that's the way they play. They play pretty. All right, we play ugly. We're going to play. We're going to make it a street fight. They're going to make it a beauty pageant, and we're going to make it a street fight.
We split. It immediately became the Hatfields versus the McCoys. In years past, before the split, the Hatfields and the McCoys were Downingtown versus Coatesville.
Well, hey, I go back, you know, Lionville, Downingtown's been around for a long, long time, and really that's what it is. It's an awesome, healthy, heated rivalry.
There was a rivalry that was born as soon as these schools split. There was a rivalry at every sport. There's a rivalry in the classrooms. There's a rivalry everywhere.
I think the community really gets behind it, but they come out in droves and they'll talk about it. Who's going to be better, Downingtown East, Downingtown West? So it's always, that's one of the questions, how good are you going to be? The next question they ask, how good is your rival going to be? So everyone has a pretty good hand in a rivalry, and I think that's what makes it such a great game.
I think it probably had to be done because the area was growing so much. But in a way, I wish it wasn't, because I like the teams to be stronger, the community to be stronger together.
Great rivalry.
Just love it.
Well, for me, honestly, like, other than the state championship, that's a big game, biggest game of the year. You know, you're playing against the guys up the hill, see who has a better Downingtown. It's for bragging rights. We obviously play on the same field. You know, you get to show whose field it actually is.
The rivalry, it's crazy.
I look forward to it every single year.
It's awesome, and the entire town comes out to support one of the teams. I mean, everyone knows each other.
Big game mentality. Everyone in the town is there.
It's just people just talk trash. It's a fun time on the field. Like, everyone's friends, but like everyone just talks trash and talks the game until the game's won. Like last year.
We're friends off the field, and then on the field, kind of enemies. But afterwards, we'll shake hands, talk about like weekends. We hang out. Like, it's always good stuff.
But it's within themselves, I don't think they have the rivalry that it should be. It's not played up enough.
Downingtown's always been a nice town. I don't think it's going to be too much. I mean, there's going to be some sorrow, there's going to be some gladness and hoop and hooray and all that, but I don't think it's going to cause any commotion.
Hey, I am Mike Milano. I'm the head football coach at Downingtown West High School. This will be my 9th season. School's been in existence 9 years. As before, there were a lot of people upset when the school split, and I viewed it as an opportunity. I'm an old Downingtown guy who was coaching in Delaware County, and for me, it was a chance to come home and coach, and it's been great for me.
That's old Downingtown football. You would look at old Downingtown football. This is old school Downingtown football. That's why it says Downingtown on your football shirt. Let's say Downingtown East. Downingtown football. Downingtown football is old school. Kick them in the teeth.
They want to play a little bully ball. They want to come in here and run power. We need to control the line of scrimmage on both sides. We also like to control the ball and control the clock. It's going to come down, I think, to some big plays. And I like my weapons. I've got some weapons. They've lost one. They're playing, I think, man down. They have an All-American running back who's been injured.
A lot of times when you're playing a huge rivalry against opponents who you know, you spend a lot of time worrying about peripheral things that don't really affect the game instead of worrying about our opponent. They're a quality opponent, they're well coached, and they have a very tradition-rich program themselves. So it's important for us to understand that going in and play the right way.
1, 2, 3.
Family. The team that makes the fewest amount of mistakes over the greatest period of time is going to be the team that wins.
We normally don't pick sides. We serve the community that goes to both schools. We're just there to help support them. And
I mean, Downingtown East, you hear a lot about their running back, being around there. But like I said, my alma mater, Downingtown West, is going to take it all the way. I got a strong squad, good coaching. So, like I said, it's going to be a West year.
I think it's a good rivalry. Good rivalry. Of course, I'm going for West.
Without question, my allegiance lies with the Cougars, and I am looking forward to another victory this year.
I think East is going to win. I'm saying that with my heart, honestly.
I don't have a favorite. I just like football.
I'm heavily favored because I went to the original Downingtown, which is Downingtown West.
My guys.
And who are they?
Well, it has to be West.
I like good games, and whatever the better team is, I would like to win.
I mean, it's Downingtown. I mean, it's like your mom and your dad. Who you support, your mom or your dad? You love both of them the same way.
Welcome back to Kottmeyer Stadium. Hello, I'm Chuck Curlin, joined by Jake Holler. And Jake, we talk about the first half, and we talk about Kyle Laletta running that Cougar offense. But I think one player that really set the tempo was Riley Angeline. His running and tough running really set up a lot of big pass plays.
Oh, yeah, you said it. He definitely set the tempo, that methodical, pounding it up between the tackles over and over with a young guy that I'm sure West probably didn't have much footage of, didn't have much film to study on him. He's a more athletic guy than I think we first anticipated when we saw him take the field. big, tall guy, runs a little bit upright, but has the ability to time his cuts and to time his moves. He's not the quickest guy on the field, but he's really effective and really impressive. Being such a young guy, he's a sophomore. He can't have had too many carries, especially backing up a guy like Harris. We talked about in the break a little bit. They're really not missing Harris too much right now. This Angeline kid is really impressing.
You're right, and really the defense for the Cougars set the tempo with the big safety to really get them on the board. But Joey did a nice job of tracking down Furman. The safety set up really good field position, and the Cougars took full advantage of that. And it's been a battle of field position. When the Cougars have good field position, good things tend to happen.
Yeah, usually field position battles are reserved for more low-scoring games. You don't expect to see 30 points on the game when we talk about a field position battle. But really, it hasn't been much of a battle. That's the thing, is the Whippets have been on the losing end of that stick all night long. The Cougars have been doing a great job just playing sound football. Everybody's playing their part. Every piece of the puzzle is fitting for them right now, right down to their punt game. That's crucial in a field position game like this, and they're absolutely capitalizing when the Whippets aren't.
Yeah, that's a good point. Eddie Kozlowski did a nice job with a couple of punts that set the Whippets back at their 1-yard line, and the one glimmer of hope for the Whippets was Dante Harrell had an 83-yard touchdown run, and for a moment there you thought the momentum was going to shift and we were going to see the Whippets start to mount a comeback, but Kyle Laletta said, no, not today, and he threw an unbelievable pass to Jay Harris, and that really sealed the deal with 4 seconds left here in the first half.
Yeah, well, you could see the confidence that Laletta has in his number one wideout. The whole time the play was scripted out, and you could see he stayed cool, stayed in the pocket, carried out his assignment, which basically was just to put the ball up and get it in the area of Harris, because he's played enough pitch and catch with this kid to know if he puts it up there, he's going to go up and get it. And he did a great job with a fantastic athletic move. And, yeah, his 3rd touchdown of the day is probably his most spectacular.
Definitely. Jay Harris with 3 touchdown receptions on the day. But one thing we also have to mention, his punt returning ability. He has really made some nifty moves and really gave the Cougars better field position than what was expected, because he turned nothing into something on 3 different occasions.
Oh, he's so dangerous, and that open field ability that gives him the kick return ability and the punt return ability is what gets him open. Also, when he runs his routes, he's a great route runner, and he hits his cuts at the right times. He bursts up the line. He gets himself in a position where he can catch the ball and run with it, and he's been doing just a great job all day long. And like I said, Laletta knows that. He knows what he's going to get from him, and he's just giving him an opportunity to do his thing.
Here are the statistics from the first half of play. As you can see, Kyle Laletta's numbers, as well as Ken Furman's, the 2 signal callers for both squads. And they're your number 1 ball carriers. And we talked about Angeline. Angeline does have a touchdown from 1 yard out, so he was rewarded when they get close to the goal line. And he has really been the workhorse for the Cougars.
Yep, that Cougar rush game, a lot of people were worried about it for sure when Drew Harris went down several weeks ago, and we've mentioned that a couple of times tonight. No relation to Jay Harris, who we've also mentioned plenty tonight. But, you're absolutely right. I think that this is a testament to the fact that the run game starts and ends with the offensive line. Whatever that the big boys are doing up front, that dictates the success of a rushing game. And, it's just an impressive job tonight by the Cougars, allowing Angeline to step up and fill that role.
Well, if you look at the stats, one thing that will jump right out at you is the receiving catches and yardage for the Whippets. They have not been able to do anything by way of the air. Their only one big play was coming by way of Dante Harrell, an 83-yard touchdown run, which was really like a broken play. He ran into a pile, and all of a sudden he just came flying out of the pile and went for 83 yards for the touchdown.
Yeah, not even sure how he got lost in translation there, but yeah. It worked out for them at the time. But, yeah, you're absolutely right. Even that play couldn't have been designed that way. And that just goes right back to what I was saying before about the Downingtown East offensive line. Same thing with their defensive line. They are blowing plays up. There's no way to give Furman any kind of pass protection. Those big physical linebackers for East are blitzing. They're all over Furman when he drops the pass. The coverage is tight. It's just that solid Downingtown East defense that's just not allowing Furman to connect with any of his receivers and forcing the Whippets to rely entirely on their rush game.
Well, a guy you mentioned, Jack Willenbrock, who is head by way of Virginia Tech after he graduates, he has really made a difference because he's really opened a lot of lanes to keep the offense churning for the Cougar offense.
Yeah, he's a fearless player. You can see him stand up, and he knows his role on every single play. And as soon as he stands up out of his crouch, he's just he's a man possessed. He knows exactly who he's looking for, gets them right in the numbers, puts them on their butt, and then moves on to the next guy. And that's how good you have to be to move on to that next level and to play for a school like Virginia Tech. So he's doing his thing, and it doesn't surprise me one bit that he's gotten the kind of national attention that he has.
Well, Chick-fil-A has been able to produce some donations, and we're going to go down to the sideline. Our third broadcast partner, Alicia McDougall, is down there as the Blue and Gold Marching Band performs here at halftime at Kottmeyer Stadium.
Downingtown East Principal Paul Hurley is standing here with me, and he has a $1,000 check from Chick-fil-A. Tell me a little bit about that.
Chick-fil-A approached both Downingtown East and Downingtown West High School about a potential fundraising opportunity, and they ran a contest between their Lionville store and their Downingtown store, and they gave us an opportunity to decorate the store, and whatever store generated the most receipts, and the patrons put the receipts in the Downingtown East receptacle, so to speak, would win $1,000, and the second place team would win $500. In these difficult economic times, we are very thankful to be able to partner with an organization like Chick-fil-A, who has given $1,000 to public education.
So rumor has it that it's 10,000 people at the game tonight. How many people do you think actually showed up?
I can tell you, I think it's well over 5,000. 10,000 might be a stretch, but there are certainly thousands of people here tonight.
How excited are you that Downingtown East is in the lead?
I am absolutely thrilled Downingtown East is in the lead. Our athletes have worked incredibly hard all year to prepare for games like this. Our student body has come out in numbers. We have approximately 1,500 students in our student section. It's really a school and a community event. We're thrilled.
So, Paul, I know you have your daughter here, Sage. So, Sage, what's your favorite part of the game?
Well, I like watching the band, and I'm so glad that East is winning, and I love coming here. I've been coming here since I was 2 years old.
2 years old, so that means your dad was, like, carrying you on his back?
Yeah, he was carrying me on his back and walking around since I was 2.
Cool, so you brought your friends, right? And they're excited too, right? Cool. Anything you want to add?
Well, this is my first time here. I don't really come here that often because I don't live close here. I live in Morgantown, and well, she's my best friend.
Aw, so Sage has to show you what to do since she's been coming since she's 2. Yeah. All right. Back to you, Chuck.
Thanks, Alicia, and that is great. Chick-fil-A donating $1,000, and we are still at halftime here from Kottmeyer Stadium. Chuck Curlin along with Jay Collar, and it is 30-7 at halftime. And, you know, we talked about playoff implications, especially in this matchup, Jake. Obviously, a hometown rivalry, the battle of the Brandywine, and here are the standings in the National and American leagues. As big game obviously being played tonight, too. Westchester Henderson is playing against Coatesville.
Right.
And everything's going to really fall into place, I think, after tonight.
Yeah, well, those are the two teams left unbeaten here in this Chestmont League. And, you know, the other teams that we're watching here tonight, this game is certainly not lacking in implication. These teams both only have one loss in conference play, and so they're next in line. You know, they're waiting to see the outcome of that Coatesville and Henderson game, because they're going to set their sights on the winner of that game as the new target and the new goal to bring them down and climb up the ladder in those standings.
Well, Alicia McDougall is back down on the field. She's caught up with Jack Heller, and let's see what he has to say about tonight's contest.
So, Jack, since you're athletic director for both schools, can you tell us a little bit about the rivalry between schools for this game?
Oh, this is a game where the whole town gets involved. The student bodies have been tremendous. It's just something it's built up every day this week to get to this point. And you look at all these people here, this is a fantastic place to play football and a fantastic experience for these kids.
So what was happening in the halls today? I mean, were they running around, school spirit?
The kids were off the wall. It's hard enough to keep the football players even keeled on a day like this, but the kids were out of their minds, couldn't wait for the game, and you see what they're doing. I mean, the student section has been tremendous. They really come out and support our kids, and as I said, it's a great atmosphere to play high school football.
It definitely is. So what happens to the winner or to the loser of this game?
They'll have to eat crow a little bit, whoever it is. This is one game you don't like to lose. They'll talk about this forever. So it's you never want to be on the short end of this one.
Well, thanks, Jack, for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Back to you, Chuck.
Thanks, Alicia. And how about that, Jack Helm, athletic director for both schools? So I guess it's a coin flip. I mean, how else can you hope for a tie?
Yeah, I mean, that's a true bipartisan leader right there, you know. Like, I guess, I don't know if he gets paid double, but he must be working super hard because two great programs here, you know, a great showing, a great atmosphere here tonight, doing a great job.
Yeah, you talk about the atmosphere. It's electrified, a packed house here at Kottmeyer Stadium, and they are enjoying some big electrifying plays. We talked about the 83-yard touchdown run by Dante Harrell, but Jay Harris has really lit up the scoreboard as well with some acrobatic receptions for 3 touchdowns on the day, and he's really done his job.
Yeah, they're all playing great. All the big players that we talked about, all the key players that we had marked off, they're all showing up. All their numbers are getting called. You know, it's a big game, and they're all stepping up to the occasion. Going back to what exactly this game means, you know, I mentioned that tonight is the battle of the unbeatens between Coatesville and Henderson, and those two teams gave these two teams their only losses. We didn't mention that before, but Coatesville beat East for East's only loss of the season, and Henderson beat West for West's only loss of the season. So both of these games very closely tied together. You know, the implications are what they are. It's as we talked about it. You know, there's only going to be one unbeaten team left after tonight, and there, you know, will only be one of these teams will only have one loss. So there will be two victors stepping up and putting themselves in great playoff position here for the Chestmont League. And as East takes the field here again for getting ready for the second half, I think we're going to see some great football, regardless of the score at the moment.
Agree. We've seen some great football in the first half. We talked about the electrifying play of Jay Harris. He made an unbelievable catch with just 4 seconds remaining in this first half, and we'll have the opportunity to share that with you once again. Probably one of the biggest catches of the year for Jay Harris.
He's going to run a little wheel route, like I said, and you'll see him clear Restrepo here. There's Restrepo just on the outside, and you'll see Harris cleared him, got behind him, used that speed, just honed in on it.
You know, in the business, that's what they say, excellent camera work. Followed the ball right into the hands, and that is a highlight reel for Jay Harris. 3 touchdowns today. As you can see, both teams now getting set for the second half of play here from Kottmeyer Stadium. Just a reminder that next week we'll be traveling to Bishop Shanahan. Great Valley will have their first opportunity to show their style right here on the Chestmont Sports Network. I'd like to thank the DailyLocal.com as well as 3CTV Live. We will take you there, and we're taking you here for an electrifying night. And we talk about the people who bring this broadcast to you. Le Tip at Thorndale. They meet every Tuesday afternoon at 11:30 to 1. Van Dyne Insurance. Visit them on the World Wide Web at vandyneinsurance.com. As well as PMG. That's the Phoenix Media Group. They are all a part of the production here at Kottmeyer Stadium here this evening. And 3CTV Live. We will take you there. Check out previous games. They are archived on the site as well, so if you'd like to catch up on your Chestmont game of the week, you can find an archived game and watch that for you. There is the officiating crew, and the white cap is Mark Lockett, working along with Tim Terrell, the head linesman, Tim Sexton, the line judge, Patrick Oldham, the umpire, Bill Ferry, the back judge, and Tom O'Doherty, the side judge. So there is the crew working tonight's game here from Kottmeyer Stadium.
Doing a great job also tonight, and you know, haven't had to throw too much yellow, which is a good sign from two very good teams. They're both, you know, well disciplined, and there have been some mistakes here and there. I seem to feel like West has made more mistakes than East, but that may just have something to do with the score. Either way, the refs have been able to kind of just back up and let the kids do their things tonight, which is preferable in any situation.
That is true, and it looks like we are getting set to start this second half of football. As we are down to 1 minute left here in this halftime break, you can see the Whippets trying to get fired up as they trail by 23 points, looking to get momentum on their side to start this second half as the Cougars of Downingtown East come to the sideline. And if you're looking on becoming a sponsor here for Chestmont Sports Network Game of the Week, for more information, you could contact Al Ray Johnson, as he is email address as well as telephone number is listed, or John Crabtree at the Phoenix Media Group. Jay Crabtree at appliedvideo.com, as well as 610-407-9320. Be a part of exciting high school football. It is the Chestmont Sports Network. We're getting set for this third quarter, Jake. You look at both coaches. Downingtown West, Mike Milano. What do you think his strategy is here coming out to start this second half of play.
Well, I think it's just crucial that they score, that they drive down the field. We talked about a sustained drive earlier, and then Harrell went off for that 80-yard run, and so much for that. But, you know, I'd still like to see them put one together here to start the second half to take back some of that control of the tempo of the game and end up in the end zone. I mean, I think one step at a time. I think right now he's looking at just putting 1 point up at a time and just climbing back in and putting themselves in position to win this game.
So Nick Caruso, I should say, and Chris White will get set to kick off, as it looks as though we will have Dante Harrell, Zach Barr, as well as Marquise Costello back deep for the Whippets, as they will receive to start this second half of play. Short kick, it's fielded right at the 30-yard line. As coming up with the football is Luke Bollenbach, and that's the first time he has touched the football here tonight, and he is brought down right at the 30. Looks like they'll mark it right at the 35-yard line.
Yeah, I think that's the guy that I used to preferred to kick the ball to. I've seen Bollenbach doing a lot of blocking tonight. He's a good blocking tight end, sometimes out of the fullback position, and you know he's been doing a great job helping Barr out in the backfield.
So Furman will bring the offense as he's under center, I formation. And there was movement. The ball's right at the 36-yard line, as Luke Bollenbach got a little overzealous.
I spoke too soon yet again. This Whippets team loves making me eat my words.
It happens. It definitely happens. As there is the call made by Mark Lockett. That will be 1st and 15 for the Whippets. They start this first play from scrimmage here in the third quarter. Zach Barr will be the lone back for Ken Furman. Furman surveys the Cougar defense. In motion is Harrell. They go with Barr. Barr looks to go wide. He turns the quarter. Zach Barr still up on his feet. He's going to have enough for a first down as he's brought down in Cougar territory right at the 47-yard line. Nick Dudley in on the play for the Cougar defense.
Yeah, that was backside pursuit from Nick Dudley there, and it was a good thing that he was as hot on Barr's heels as he was, because Barr had to turn the corner and had a lot of space, had a lot of green in front of him. This could have been disastrous for the Cougars. Great job there as he swings the arm over the shoulder, trying to knock that ball loose. Always thinking big play.
1st and 10 for the Whippets. I formation for Furman. Furman will go with the second back through. That's Harrell. He scored on an identical play in the first half, but not this time. Looks like Elijah Griffin was the initial hit. That helped out by Nick Dudley.
But that big carry by Barr, being able to eat up a big chunk of yardage there, kind of just gives the Whippets a bit more of a comfortable feeling. A little bit, they can sit back a little bit more and kind of like carry out their game plan. 3-4 yards of carry is, that'll get them first down every 3 downs. So that's all they need to worry about right now is moving the sticks one time, and then another, until we get to the end zone. One step at a time, though.
Harrell comes up with the carry. So Duffy in on the tackle. So there's no gain on the play. It will bring up a 3rd down and 7 for West. Tony Calamaro will line up to the bottom of your screen. Shotgun formation for Ken Furman. They go to Barr. Barr up the middle, and he stumbles to the 40-yard line. A late flag was thrown in. So a late flag on the play. We'll see who this may go against.
This game is quickly turning into a grinded-out competition here between East defense and the running game of West. This is a little bit more of what we thought we would see in the first half.
This will go against the Cougar defense. Personal foul, face masking.
It's going to be a first down. It's going to be a big deal. It could be a breaker on this drive. Just when West was about to stall out, now all of a sudden it's East making the mistakes that are, allowing West to get opportunities.
Personal foul. First down.
Lockett now is wired for the second half of play. As you can see, the personal foul keeps this drive alive for the Whippets. They will have the football at the Cougar 26-yard line, 1st and 10 from this spot. Harrell will line up in the backfield. They go with Barr. Barr tries to cut it back. He gets to the 25-yard line. A pickup of maybe a yard.
Great job gang tackling there, getting 11 guys to the ball on the east side. This defense really needs to bear down here, buckle down here in the red zone, and make sure that they don't give up a quick score to the Whippets. And there's plenty of time left for Downingtown West, but the quicker they can score here and the quicker they can shift that momentum, the better things will be for them. So the Cougars definitely want to stomp that out right here.
Shotgun formation. They go with the quick pitch. They go to Barr. Barr takes it to the outside, still on his feet, and he's driven out of bounds right at the, looks like 26-yard line. That's where they will spot the football. Actually, the 21-yard line. Take a look at that play again. There's the quick pitch.
Yeah, Barr has a great eye for making those cuts to the outside. He sets them up nicely. He moves quickly in a lateral way. And also, he just times his movement so well to make people miss and just turn something into nothing, or something out of nothing. Sorry.
So it brings up a 3rd down and 6 for the Whippets. Harrell in motion. He gets the football, but he hands it off to Costello, who's hit immediately. He tried to cut it back inside. A little trickery by the Whippets, but the Cougar defense does not fall for it, so it will bring up a 4th down and 5 for West.
Great discipline there on Downingtown East part. Staying home, staying tight, following the ball. Yeah, you're right. They weren't fooled at all, and that brings up a very difficult 4th and long situation for West.
21-yard line is where the ball is placed. Big 4th and 5 for the Whippets. Furman, naked backfield. Calamaro in the slot. In motion is Harrell. Dante now stops as Furman will look to throw the football. He gets the screen out, and it is caught. Coming up is Bolenbach with the reception and a loose football. So the pass is complete.
We'll see which way. Oh, it's going the other way.
And there is another turnover. Big break for the Cougar defense. As they will have the football, the Whippets look like they are putting a nice drive together. And a miscue comes up big.
Well, here's my guy Bolenbach that I was talking about doing such a great job blocking for Barr and for Harrell earlier, and this time they decided to give him the ball. Everything looks like it's going to turn out great until he coughs it up. It's a tough, tough break for the West Whippets. Like I said, every one of those Cougars on every play is sniffing out that ball and thinking big play, big play, big play. They're looking to strip that ball. They're looking for exactly that to happen. It's a shame that Bolenbach got past the sticks first before it happened. It feels like you lost a whole lot more than you would have just turning it over on downs.
Jamie Como with his 2nd turnover of the day came up with an interception and now the fumble recovery. So he has done a nice job defensively for the Cougars. As it will bring up a 2nd down and 10. No gain on the play. So Angeline, the ball carrier. 8:22 left here in the 3rd quarter. 2nd down and 10. They go right back up the middle. Just keep those legs moving. I think Zonheiser might be the ball carrier here. We'll see he comes up from the bottom of the pile. They've been mixing things up with Zonheiser as well as Mastrog, but Wade Mastrog, the ball carrier here. 3rd down and 8 for the Cougars.
Yeah, East just can't afford a mistake back here. They absolutely cannot afford a turnover or a big mistake.
Right back to Angeline, and Angeline is hit immediately at the line of scrimmage. Really nowhere to go for Riley.
Just cover that ball up. Put your head down, young man.
So it's 4th down and 6, a punting situation. So Eddie Kozlowski has done a nice job punting the football for the Cougars. Will come back in. Calamaro will be deep. Tony will sit right at his 44-yard line in Cougar territory. So we'll see if Kozlowski can get off a good punt as he punts from his own end zone.
Well, he certainly hasn't punted from anywhere close to his own end zone yet today, so we'll see.
Downingtown East will take a timeout. With the timeout on the field, it also gives us time to remind you that next Saturday, the Chessmont Sports Network will be heading off to Bishop Shanahan as they will host Great Valley. We hope you can join us, all a part of the Chessmont Sports Network, dailylocal.com, 3CTV Live, and Verizon Channel 29, all a part of the Chessmont Sports Network. We hope you can join us for exciting Chessmont football right here on the Chessmont Sports Network.
Downingtown West defeated East in boys cross country
Yeah, I really like what West was able to force East to do here. You know, they finally flipped that field position situation that we've been talking about, even though it was unintentional and not really wanted because of the fumble. The nature of the situation really isn't that great, but you know, they did what they wanted to do and flip the field position after a decent drive, and then they force Downingtown East into a very quick 3-and-out position where they can't afford to make a mistake, so they've just got to pound it up the middle. They get nowhere, and now West has got a great opportunity here. They need to capitalize.
Kozlowski will punt from his own end zone. He gets the punt away as it takes a good bounce. Calamari lets it go, and it'll be touched up right around the 47-yard line. So good field position for the Whippets. They're right at midfield, so that is a good sign.
Yeah, this is definitely like a much better break for the Whippets than they've had all night, for sure, as far as starting field position goes. They like to keep the balance on their side of the field at this point when we're talking about field position, and so anything they can do to secure that, that's the goal right now. Just keep marching down and keep looking at the end zone.
Yeah, I was told that overall sports this year, East leads West 6-3. So that's where this rivalry keeps alive. So a little bit of a wildcat formation.
There he is.
And then again, Dante Harrell, he just is tripped up. Touchdown saving tackle on the play. Good job by Jamie Como. We talked about some of the things he has done defensively, and he comes up big there with the touchdown saving tackle.
Yeah, that was enormous. I mean, that was, yeah, absolutely saved the touchdown. But I mean, the play was outstanding on Harrell's part. Look at the balance this kid has as he's floating along there. He's going to put a hand on the ground at one point here and keep going for it, dive forward for 2 or 3 extra yards when he should have been, by all rights, on his side.
1st and 10 from the 18. Harrell's going to keep it again. Dante right up the middle, and he's going to get in for his second touchdown of the ball game. An 18-yard touchdown scamper by Dante Harrell. And
Great
the
play
Whippets.
Call. Great play call. Yeah, go right back to the guy, Harrell. Give him some open space, a little bit of misdirection. Make East think about what you're doing. Stop making it such a methodical thing where they can bear down on Barr and just rush the passer, and that's all they're really concerned about. Now they got to worry about Harrell coming off the end, coming up the middle. Great play call, great execution.
Our score is 30-13 pending this extra point as Nick Caruso will come in to kick the extra point for the Downingtown West Whippets. And the kick looks to be good, and it will make the score 30-14. It's a 16-point difference, and more importantly, a 2-possession ball game, and we still have 6:37 remaining here in the third quarter.
Yeah, the West fan section, the pound over there, back into the game, and then they were never really out of it, to their credit. They've really stayed behind these Whippets the entire game, and he's going to take another look at that 18-yard touchdown. It's just too easy for Harrell, he's got some real burners on him.
8 carries for 146 yards and 2 touchdowns for Dante Harrell. And he has accounted for both scores for the Whippets. Just remember, next week, Downingtown West will be facing off with Coatesville, as Downingtown East will face Westchester East. So some big football coming your way next week, especially for the Whippets. As remember, Coatesville, they defeated Downingtown East earlier in the year, and that was the game that Drew Harris was injured. So Caruso will get set to kick for the Whippets as they get the first score of the second half here in the third quarter. As mentioned, 6:37 remaining here in this third quarter of play. Soccer-style kick that's fielded right at the 11-yard line as a couple of broke tackles and driven right out of bounds was Martin Dillon. Dillon has had some nice returns for the Cougars.
He's listed here as a linebacker at 6'1", 205, a stocky kind of guy, but certainly unafraid.
Henderson, I'm told, leads Coatesville 21-7 in the fourth quarter of play. So Henderson holding a 2-touchdown lead over Coatesville in that fourth quarter of play. So good field position here for the Cougars. They'll set up camp at the 45-yard line. So Kyle Oletta will bring the offense out to the football. 6:29 left here in the third quarter. They still hold a 16-point lead. They go right back to the workhorse, Riley Angeline. He picks up almost 3 yards on the carry.
Did you see number 51 out here, Ellenbrock? He's taking his guy all the way out to the second level. You know, when a lineman takes the guy his assignment all the way to about 20 yards past where the play stopped. You know he's doing his job, whistle to whistle.
Well, that's why you know he is a D1 recruit at 6'4", 260 pounds. So a whistle, a couple flags are thrown, and this may go against the Cougars as we have a little bit of a congregation. Here is Mark Lockett with the call. So a legal procedure called against the Cougars. So we'll bring up a 2nd down and 12 for Downingtown East. They spot the football at the 43-yard line. Loletta will be in the shotgun. Quick out to Harris. Harris, though, couldn't come up with the football, but they're going to say it was an incomplete pass. It was not a forward lateral. But it was close.
Even though East is holding on to a 16-point lead right now, Chuck, can you feel the way things have changed? Can you feel the way that all these things that were going right for East no longer are going right for them?
We talked about that nice return by Martin as it's 3rd down and 12. Loletta in the shotgun.
It's a big snap here for Loletta.
Bark looking to blitz. Good pickup there, but Loletta is brought down for a loss on the play. Great penetration. As coming up with the tackle was number 34. That is Danny Specca.
Yeah, take a look at this. Loletta really had nowhere to go. It's a design draw play, but this time West was ready for it. I mentioned early in the game that if East overused that play, eventually West was going to key in on it. It would become more of a weakness than a strength, and that's exactly what happened in a situation where East really needed a 1st down and not another 3 and out.
Kozlowski with another nice punt. As it takes a nice bounce, and it's going to trickle all the way down to the 20-yard line. So the Whippets will have the football once again as they trail by 16. Right now I'm told that Henderson still has a touchdown lead over Coatesville, 21-14 in the 4th quarter of play.
Coatesville battling back. We knew that was going to be a good one. That's what we're seeing right here, too, though. West has got the ball with an opportunity to make this a 1-possession game right here already. After the way this game felt like such a blowout at the half, they've already gotten themselves back into a situation where they're contenders.
The ball spotted at the 20-yard line. Furman actually they're going to go with the Wildcat again, and this is the way they've been going. They're going right back to Dante Harrell. And Harrell picks up 2 yards on the play. So right now it looks as though Coach Mike Milano is set for the Wildcat offense.
Yeah, why not do something different? You know, East's defense was able to shut down the Whippets the entire 1st half. They really couldn't do anything they wanted to do. You talk about Furman being 0 for 4 for the entire half. You know, they needed to change it up. They needed to switch it up. They needed to give a different look to make this defense think twice, and they've done that so far.
So Dante Harrell remains as the quarterback. He goes with the quick handoff. And Barr breaks a couple of tackles. He's whipped down right at the 29-yard line. Tackle on the play by Nelson Lucas Murphy. And it will bring up a 3rd down and 1.
Yeah, Nelson Lucas Murphy is another one of those tough physical linebackers that we talked about the Cougars having, and he makes a big play right here when Barr really was on his way to pay dirt.
Nick Dudley also in on that play as it will bring up a 3rd down and 1. Harrell and Barr will line up in the backfield. Dante will keep it himself. Oh, and he is hit hard in the backfield. Pressure coming right up the middle by Elijah Griffin.
Huge play right there, because this is that was an opportunity for West to come back out and start driving down the field, and you know, 3 and out to answer East's 3 and out, and now both defenses are just showing up big here.
So a loss on the play will bring up 4th down and 3 for the Whippets. Parker Fody will be back to punt for the Whippets, as the electrifying Jay Harris will be deep for the Cougars. We'll see if they try to keep it away from him. And no, they're going to go right at Harris, but he's going to call for a fair catch right at the 42-yard line. Now the Cougars will have the football and very good field position at their own 42-yard line when they come out to the football. And as they do that, it also gives us time to remind you that next Saturday, the Chestmont Sports Network will feature Great Valley at Bishop Shanahan. We hope you can join us here, all a part of dailylocal.com, Verizon Channel 29, and 3CTV Live. We will take you there, and we have a Very exciting game for you here at Kottmeyer Stadium. 16 points the difference, but the Whippets starting to mount a comeback, and we'll see if they could stop this Cougar offense. They go right back to Riley Angeline. Really nowhere for him to go.
Yeah, it seems like West was able to make some defensive adjustments to get past that initial offensive line of East, because East's offensive line is still doing their job. They're still blocking their assignments, but now West is suddenly a lot more aggressive, and they're sending blitz packages, and they're sending guys to fill those gaps that the Cougars are creating on that offensive line, and it's really doing great things for them.
Jared McGill with that stop. Very strong hit. Brings up 2nd down and 11. A loss of a yard on that play. Loletta will look to throw. Plenty of time. He's going to let one go deep again. And it's almost intercepted, in and out of the hands of Todd Diaz. He was there in stride, and he almost had that ball picked off on the reflection.
Yeah, you'll see here on the replay that Loletta had his man. He drops back, has plenty of time. The pass protection was great for the Cougars. He delivered a strike. The ball was right on a line, right on a seam, just bounced right in and out of the hands of Diaz.
Riley Angeline is rushed the ball 4 times here in the second half, and he's gained just 4 yards. So you can see the West defense have found an answer. As it's 3rd down and 11, 2:29 left here in the third quarter. Cougars looking for their first score here in the second half. Loletta looks to pass again. He gets the screen out to Bond. Ryan has some room. He cuts it back outside, and he's hit right at the 47-yard line. Parker Fody in on the play defensively for the Whippets.
Yeah, and that was a great defensive package that the Whippets threw at the Cougars right there, because I at first was a little bit surprised to see that the Whippets only had 3 down linemen rushing the passer when we talked about how crucial it is to make Loletta get out of the pocket and make him do things that maybe he doesn't want to do. Allowing him the time to make the throws he wants to make is not going to help, but in that situation, the extra cover man really helped cover that screen and close the gap quickly in order to force this punt.
Calabari deep for the Whippets as Kozlowski gets set to punt. Another nice punt by Kozlowski. Takes a good bounce down to the, looks like it's going to go all the way down to the 10-yard and actually down to the 9. How about that, Eddie Kozlowski? What a job he has done punting the football for the Cougars here this evening.
Yeah, it's been huge. It seems like whichever direction he's kicking is downhill, because every one of those bounces have been Cougar bounces, that's for sure. But I think that's 3 or 4 straight 3-and-outs, on 3 or 4 straight possessions that we've watched here. It's really become a defensive battle. I'm impressed with the way both of these teams have stepped up.
So it will be 1st and 10 for the 9-yard line. 1 minute and 30 seconds left here in the third quarter. Dante Harrell remain at quarterback for the Whippets. And he's wrapped up in the backfield again, as Elijah Griffin said, not today. He has really sniffed some nice plays out defensively in that backfield.
Yeah, well, the Wildcat's great, and like I said, it's great for the Whippets to be able to mix things up and throw some different looks at this Cougar defense. But at this point, the Wildcat starting to look a little bit more predictable. They're starting to. From the very beginning, I've noticed that all those snaps have been a little bit shaky. Harold's had a little bit of trouble with several of them, and it hadn't burnt them yet. But plays will take longer to develop if it takes that long to get the ball into the signal caller's hands.
5-yard loss of the play brings up 2nd down as Furman back in as the signal caller. Hands off, really nowhere for Barr to go. It will now bring up a 3rd down and 14, 1-yard pickup on the play. They'll spot it right at the 5-yard line.
And this is the worst field position that the Whippets have had in the second half here, starting field position, and you can tell that it drastically changes their game plan, drastically changes their performance. And they just really need some room to breathe, and they're going to have to find a way to get it.
3rd down at 14, coming down to 20 seconds left here in the third quarter. Furman in the shotgun. Remember, he's already been taken back for a safety, and that happened way back in the first half of play. He rolls all the way out to his right, gets the football away, and it's well overthrown. So it will bring up a 4th down on the play. Justin Howe hit on the coverage.
Yeah, it was good coverage, too. Blanket coverage by Howe there. Really nowhere for Furman to go with the ball. He thought about tucking it and running it, but I think he saw a couple of those big bad linebackers on the Cougars' side of the line, and he pulled up and didn't make a great throw, but there really was nowhere to go with it anyway. That's just great defense, airtight defense.
Fody set the punt for the Whippets. Harris sets up right at it at the 40-yard line. Punt is away. It's a high boomer, and it's going to be a fair catch. fielded right at the 40-yard line. A little bit of extracurricular activity by Tino Bunhu, but nothing was called. Furman is 1 for 6 for 13 yards. That play ended in a fumble. So now we get set for the fourth quarter of play, and 16 points now the difference. It's anyone's ball game.
It sure is, yeah. I mean, the way that that's the, 4 straight 3-and-outs going on both sides of the ball for both teams. It's really become a defensive battle. Points are all of a sudden really hard to come by. The Whippets the only team to score in the second half thus far, so they're able to close the gap a little bit.
And here are some of our sponsors. Le Tip at Thorndale, as well as Van Dyne Insurance. Van Dyne Insurance.com, PMG, the Phoenix Media Group, video programming for business and community, and 3CTV Live. We will take you there, all a part of the Chestmont Sports Network. We go back to live action. Kyle Loletta will have his offense right at the 40-yard line. Angeline the lone back, but Loletta looks to throw the football. He gets the pass out, and it is complete right in stride as it is caught by Josh Zanheiser. And a first down, beautifully thrown ball by Kyle Loletta.
Yeah, Loletta getting the show a little bit that he is a good quarterback and does have a good arm. It's not just Harris doing all the work out there. You see here.
To show that Cougar defense as we go back to Angeline. Angeline cuts it back in, and he's brought down right at the 7-yard line. So 11:38 left in the ball game. The Cougars trying to seal the deal here on their first series to start this fourth quarter of play. Angeline will line up as the up back. They go right back to Riley, and Riley tries to turn and twist and pick up positive yardage for the Cougars.
Something tells me that the Whippets defensive staff talked a lot about number 9 on the Cougars at halftime because he's really been keyed out of this game. The Whippets are not allowing him to cross the line of scrimmage. He's averaging less than a yard a carry. Whippets have really stood up to this running game well here in the second half. That one big play to Zonheiser, though, we'll see who can capitalize in this situation.
Mastrug and Angeline line up in the backfield. Bond in motion for Loletta. Loletta will look to throw the football. He goes to the outside, and guess what? Jay Harris with his 4th touchdown catch of the ball game.
Those are just 2 excellent football players right there, Chuck. Loletta put that ball exactly where he needed to on the back shoulder of Harris, and Harris knew what he needed to do to make the adjustment and put his defender on his back and put himself in a position where only he could catch that ball. I mean, this is a little bit simpler than we've seen from these 2 hooking up, but also just beautiful execution.
A 5-yard touchdown strike, Loletta to Harris. And that has happened 4 times here this evening. And it is 36-14 pending this extra point attempt by Chris White. As the kick is up, and it is good. So it is now 37-14, and Loletta, what an aerial attack with his favorite target, Jay Harris.
Well, it's interesting because we talked about there being 4 straight 3-and-outs and how the defenses had stepped up. And really, I think that what Loletta showed right there was the fact that the Cougars had just changed their game plan coming out into the third quarter. And they were running the ball a little bit more conservatively and not really taking the type of shots that they were in the first half. And that time, the Downingtown East staff allowed Loletta to really let it rip and get the ball out with his arm a couple of times. And he moved the team down the field rather quickly after all those offensive stallouts in a row.
So Kyle Loletta with 4 touchdown passes all the day. He completed all of them to Jay Harris. He had one from 28 yards out, another from 31, another one from 25, and he just capped his 4th touchdown pass from 5 yards out to the 5'11", 165-pound junior receiver, Jay Harris. So Chris White will get set to kick for the Cougars. As back deep will be Marquise Costello, as well as Zach Barr and Dante Harrell. 10:48 remain in the contest. Ball's going to be fielded right at the 26-yard line. As coming up with it was Steve Mullen. It's brought down, and that's where we'll see who the signal caller will be for this series. Remember, Coach Mike Milana has been switching things up. Ken Furman, the starting quarterback, but then he went with a Wildcat offense with Dante Harrell. But it looks like Ken Furman will be back in calling the plays for the Whippets. And then as I say that, Harrell now will take the snap as it looks as though Furman will line up at the bottom of your screen as a receiver. In motion is Barr. Barr will get the football. Barr looks to take it wide, but he can't string it out, and he's brought down after a pickup of 2 on the play. The initial hit was made by Nick Dudley.
Well, we need to see something big out of the Whippets right here, Chuck. They're going to have to do something.
Oh, they're going to say there was a loose football. And you can see the Whippets are stunned as the Cougars come running off the field, jumping around, and everyone just stopped for a moment. No one's seen the football come out. It was stripped away.
I didn't see it. I'm not really sure what to say about that. I was just going to get into what I was going to say about how important that possession was for the Whippets, and then, while I was sitting here jawing about it, they kind of handed the possession over.
So another turnover for Downingtown West, and Kyle Loletta will bring the offense back out to the football. Lucas Restrepo lines up to the bottom of your screen. Good job by Loletta to roll out, and he's going to tuck it and keep it himself. Cuts it back inside as he picks up almost 4 yards on the play. Mullen in on the tackle for the Whippets.
Yeah, that's a tough missed opportunity there for the Whippets. One of their linebackers came diving through the line and almost had Loletta by the ankles and let him go free, and they turned that broken play into something positive when really he could have been pinning the Cougars back close to midfield.
Ian Nanny, number 78, also the junior 6'2", 220-pound defensive end, making something happen. So it will be second down. We'll call it 6. And Angeline will line up in the backfield, lone back, and he will get the football. Riley just takes it off tackle, keeps those legs moving, gets down to the 29-yard line.
West doing a much better job in the second half, certainly with wrapping up Angeline and not allowing him to spin out of those tackles and break those tackles and get into the second level of the defense.
3rd down and 4 for the Cougars. More importantly, they're just taking time off the clock.
Yeah, I tell you, West really needs a turnover here. I'll going back to that possession where they fumbled the ball and we didn't really see what happened. This is as close as to make it or break it as it's going to get for them for their season in general.
Credit this Cougar defense. Every time you thought the Whippets were going to mount a comeback, the defense has come up big for Downingtown East. They go back to Angeline. Angeline twists and turns, and he's pushed forward. A heads-up play by Josh Zanheiser.
This is going to be one of the biggest plays of the game right here, Chuck. 4th and short. If the Cougars can convert, they're just going to keep eating up that clock and marching towards the end zone for yet another score. And if they fail to convert here, they turn it over on downs. That will then become the biggest offensive possession of the game for the Whippets, bar none.
Zanheiser checks out. We're down to 8:30 remaining. Ball is marked right at the 27-yard line. Loletta having a few words with his head coach, Mike Mata. And he is just taking his good old time with its 4th down and 2.
Snap a timeout just as the play clock expires.
And that's exactly the case. The Cougars take that timeout with 8:13 remaining here in the 4th quarter. More importantly, they hold a 23-point lead. And I'll tell you, Jake, to start the second half, it looked like the Whippets were coming out like gangbusters. They were really going to set the tempo, and the Cougars said, not tonight. This is our ball game.
Well, it's like I said, I think initially Mike Mata kind of took his foot off the pedal a little bit and allowed the Cougars to play a little bit more conservative offense, and that that was giving the Whippet defense a little bit more momentum and confidence, which spills over to the offense, and things were definitely rolling their way. But the moment you tell Loletta to get back out there and score you some points, well, he's found ways to do it all night with one receiver or another. I guess only Harris in the end zone, but he's used a couple different tools very effectively, and he's got a great arm and he's a good quarterback, and he's really led this team to a big lead that let's see what happens here, but it may be insurmountable at this point.
I formation for Kyle Loletta as Wade Mastrug lines up and does a nice job of blocking for Angeline, and let's see where they spot the football. Is it enough for a first down? For a moment there, I thought Loletta might keep the football. But Angeline looks like he should have enough for a Cougar first down. Nice lead blocking by Wade Mastrug there on the play, and the chains will move. So a first down carry by the sophomore.
This was a full team effort. You could see this. You'll see Angeline hits the pile, stops. He's well short at this point, but look at the pile just moving forward. Every player in there pushing the pile, moving inch for inch, just reaching for those sticks. And, you know, as I said, that was an enormous play for the Cougars, and that kind of just takes a lot of the energy out of the Whippets to keep their defense on the field at this point.
So it's 1st and 10 for the Cougars. They go right back to the fullback, and oh, what a hit. Mastrug just goes right in to Tino Bunhu, and that looked like two.
I wasn't sure who had the ball right there.
Two Rams just butting heads. We'll look at this again.
You'd think he didn't even have the ball there. He was looking for to tackle somebody. That's like the gauntlet drill where everybody lays down, where two guys lay down, and the coach calls a number, and they stand up and they just go at it from about, you know, arm's length away.
Big play by Mastrug, who got his opportunity to carry the football. It brings up 2nd down and 4 for the Cougars. They go right back to the fullback again. Mastrug picks up a couple. More importantly, the clock continues to wind down for Downingtown East. They hold a 23-point lead here in the 4th quarter of play.
Yeah, Coach Matt at this point taking the ball out of Angeline's hands. He hasn't had a great second half of production, and a young sophomore kid, you certainly don't want to get him hurt at this point in a game that's kind of turned into a blowout.
3rd down and 3. Valletta being very deliberate here as the offense taking their good old time getting set. Jay Harris will line up to the top of your screen. Riley Angeline will line up in the backfield along with Wade Mastrug. Tight formation here for the Cougar offense. They go right back to the sophomore, Angeline. He looks to take it outside, and he has a block by Harris if he follows the block, but he's brought down right at the 6-yard line.
Yeah, Harris doing a good job just kind of getting in the way there. I don't know how actively he was blocking. That's probably not his strong suit, but he gets in the way just enough for Angeline to use him as a pick on the outside and pick up some major yardage, and all of a sudden the Cougars are knocking on the door.
Sean Goodrich in on that tackle to save a touchdown. So Riley Angeline has just rushed over 100 yards. He also has a touchdown on the day. 1st and goal from the 6-yard line for the Cougars, as Jay Harris will line up down at the bottom of your screen, I formation. They go right back to Angeline. Angeline following a couple blocks, keeps the legs moving. He's brought down to the 3-yard line. So bring up a 2nd down and goal after a 3-yard pickup on the play.
Yeah, this is where having a big physical back like Angeline is really advantageous to the Cougars on the goal line here. They can just give him the ball and just push that pile, just keep moving and moving inch by inch and closer to the goal line, and that's exactly what they're going to do.
More importantly, they're just taking time off the clock with a 2nd down and 3. Angeline will line up in the backfield along with Wade Mastrug. Lauletta goes back to Angeline. Angeline with 1 touchdown on the day. Can he make it 2? I think he stumbled in. We'll wait for the official call. And that is the case from 3 yards out. Riley Angeline gets his 2nd touchdown of the ballgame.
Yeah, he got a little bit of help from his offensive lineman there, who just kind of nudged him in as he met a little bit of resistance at the goal line. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. With a big physical back like that, you can do that. And when you've got players who play whistle to whistle and never stop, like the offensive linemen have all game for these Cougars, then this is going to happen like just as easy as it just did. And you know, that's it for West. You can tell that they've kind of laid down at this point. They're not coming back from a 29-point deficit.
White is looking for 5 for 5, and I believe he has it. And that is the case. Just under 5 minutes to play. It is all Downingtown East. 44-14. They hold a 30-point lead. As we look at the final touchdown, as Angeline gets in for the touchdown, 30 carries, 118 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the day for the sophomore halfback.
Well, 1.5 there. Number 50, Tyler Burke, I think gets half of that touchdown there. He might not have been carrying the ball, but he pretty much picked up Angeline and carried him into the end zone.
4:57 remains in this contest, and it is all Downingtown East. They have really took command here in the 4th quarter. Just to remind you that next week we head to Bishop Shanahan as they will host Great Valley. We hope you can join us, all a part of the Chessmont Sports Network, dailylocal.com, as well as 3C TV Live and Verizon Channel 29. So White will tee it up from the 40. He brings the kicking team out to the field. As it looks as though Harrell will be deep along with Barr for the Whippets.
Well, Downingtown East certainly hasn't had any kind of problem putting up points on the board in this rivalry matchup. This is the second straight year that they've scored over 40 on the Whippets defense, which is an impressive feat against a very good Whippets team.
White's kick looks like it will go out of play. Flag is thrown, so very good field position here for the Whippets, but I think it's all for naught with under 5 minutes to play. They really need a miracle.
Yeah, you know, after the buzzing, electric atmosphere in this stadium all night long, when you start to see the fans streaming for the door, you kind of know at that point it's an understood thing. A 30-point deficit is just going to be too much with under 5 minutes left to play. And it's a shame because the Whippets hung around for a long, long time in this game. They put themselves in a position to make a comeback several different times. They won that third quarter. Just hasn't been enough in the end.
So the Whippets will have the football at the 35-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 from that spot. As now we will have Furman under center. Furman will look to throw the football. He gets it out, and it's overthrown, intended for Tony Calamaro.
Player of the game.
Whoever you want.
Loletta or Harris, I guess.
Yeah, it's a coin flip. So we'll bring up a 2nd down and 10. Right now, I have to tell you, our player of the game has to be a coin flip because Kyle Loletta has done a great job orchestrating the Cougar offense, but Jay Harris has also made some acrobatic plays, and sometimes you have to look at the Cougar defense. What a job they have done. Barr, twisted turns. He's still on his feet, and he's close to a whip at 1st down. We'll see where they spot the football. But, Jake, I'll give you the honors if you'd like to pick our player of the game today.
Oh, I think it's got to be Loletta just because of the fact that he's done everything throughout this whole game. You know, Harris has been dynamic and exciting, and he made some great plays, and you can't take away from his performance tonight. But Loletta's really done it all, and he's led this team to a victory. And, you know, I'm sure he'll share those honors with his offensive line, who did a great job protecting him all night long, really didn't spend any time under pressure. So, yeah, I think Kyle Loletta definitely earns player of the game honors tonight. And, you know, like you said, it could have gone either way. It could go a number of different ways, but he's been the best tonight, and his team's winning because of it.
I don't think anyone will argue with that decision, that's for sure, as he did a great job of orchestrating the offense and kept things well in check, threw some beautiful balls, especially to Jay Harris.
And that last ball he threw to Zonheiser over the middle there, that big pickup on that post route he ran, I mean, that was a dagger at that point, you know, close to it anyway. You know, they were playing a 3-and-out field position game, and he's able to eat up a chunk of yardage like that with his fullback. That's the player of the game.
Kyle Loletta had 70 rushing yards, 168 passing. He had 4 touchdowns on the day, all 4 coming by way of Jay Harris. And the one that ended the first half was the play of the day when he threw that up in the end zone. That looked like something that you would see in the NFL.
Yeah, and that was one of those plays where, as great as Loletta's been and as much as he has earned those honors of player of the game, that was all Harris. That was Loletta putting the ball in a position where Harris could make a play, but he made an incredible play. And nobody else on the field would be able to make that catch. And that's why he is who he is, and that's why he's Loletta's go-to guy. Every great quarterback has to have that great tool, that great weapon to use in the end zone, and Jay Harris proved himself to be that and more today.
It brings up 2nd down and 12, 3:57 left in the contest. Dante Harrell will remain at quarterback for the Whippets. Zach Barr will line up in the slot. Loletta, Furman to the bottom of your screen. Passes up by Harrell, and it's just knocked away. Good coverage on the play by Nick Dudley, as he just got a piece of it at the last second.
Yeah, Dudley's been great all day. It's only fitting that he breaks up that pass, which actually wasn't a bad ball from Harrell there. It was a little soft on the touch, gave a guy like Dudley too much time to close on it, but it was in a good spot, and Dudley just got his hands on it first.
So it's 3rd down and 12, 3:50 left here in the contest. Safe to say it is all academic, as now Furman will line up in the shotgun. Barr to the bottom of your screen. Calamaro to the top. In motion is Barr. Furman will keep the football himself, but really nowhere to go. Great pressure up front by a host of Cougars. Initial contact was made by Milton Ashburn Hearns. Nick Dudley seems to be in on every play, but we'll take a look at it again.
Yeah, it's just been the story for Furman all night. The pressure has been too much. That pocket collapses too quickly, and he's had nowhere to go with the ball when he rolls out. So no blame on Furman. It's not that he played terribly. It just, Downingtown West was just outmatched on the line tonight.
Sean Enderline in on that play as well. Punting situation for the Whippets with 3:07 remaining, and there is a flag. I think someone might have jumped off sides. Angeline, along with Harris, are deep.
I think it was your number 6, Tony Calamaro, who also returns punts. Jumped a little early at the bottom of the screen here. He didn't return too many punts, though, today. Didn't have an opportunity to, as most of those balls were pinned pretty deep into Whippet territory.
Angeline and Harris set up at the 35-yard line. Punt is away. Harris calls for the fair catch right at the 38-yard line. So 2 minutes and 50 seconds remain in this contest. It seems to be all academic as Kyle Loletta and the Cougar offense are just going to try to work the clock here for the final 2 minutes and 50 seconds. As now we have personal foul call, roughing the punter. So this is going to be an automatic first down for the Whippets. So Whippets will maintain possession.
Last gasp breath. Afraid it's too little too late, but they could have got some breaks like that going their way earlier on, maybe in the first half. Could have been a different ball game.
So with 2:50 remaining, the Whippets will maintain possession on the roughing the punter call. As it's marched off, they will have the football at the 44-yard line. Furman remains at quarterback in the shotgun. There was movement up front, and this looks like it will go against the Cougars.
Again, drawn off sides by that late stance that the Whippets do to get down in their three-point stance. It's caused a little bit of issues all night long. The Cougars were able to stay extremely disciplined throughout most of the game. They didn't make too many mistakes like that, especially not on their defensive side.
Evan Campbell-Droz, the 6-foot sophomore, checks in for the Cougars. There's the quick pitch to Barr. Barr with a nifty move, and he's going to have a Whippet first down. This is brought down on the play by Elijah Griffin. Griffin's made some solid hits here today for the Cougar defense.
Yeah, at this point, the Whippets are just hoping to march downfield a little bit, maybe put some more points on the board and make this score a little bit more respectable in a big rivalry matchup. They'd like to close the gap to a little bit smaller than 30 points, I'm sure.
Milton Ashburn Hearns checks back in for the Cougars. 1st and 10 from the Cougar 45-yard line. Quick pitch goes out to Barr. Barr with really nowhere to go. He's hit initially by Ryan Duffy and brought back for a loss on the play.
Yeah, Barr's really had a great game. He's really ran very hard and done everything that the Whippets have asked him to do tonight. He himself really hadn't made any mistakes. Again, just like with Furman, it's not that he played poorly. It's just that line just keeps getting outmatched, and you saw it right there. The Cougars are in the backfield immediately after the ball is snapped, and it's very difficult for a running back to have to evade multiple defenders on a every carry basis.
Nice play by Josh Ganzelli up front on that defensive line for the Cougars. They go back to Barr. Barr breaks a couple of tackles, and he gets back to the original line of scrimmage right at the 45-yard line. Down to 1:40 remaining.
See how quickly there's that penetration in the backfield. That was Sean Enderling there, senior D end. I mean, he's in the backfield immediately. You could see it was a perfect shot of it there on the replay. It's been happening all night long.
Third down and 10 for Furman. Immersion is Hamill. Furman looks to throw. He gets the pass out in the flat. A lot of room for Dante Harrell, and he picks up a Whippet first down.
Yeah, it's great for Furman to get a little bit of confidence. I'm sure he was a little shooken up by the fact that that the Whippets went away from him being the signal caller in the second half a little bit. That can be disheartening to a young player, and it's good for him to be able to drop back and connect on a couple of passes, even if at this point they are irrelevant.
First and 10 from the 34-yard line. Harrell now in at quarterback. It's Wildcat formation and a loose football, and it looks as though the Cougars come up with it. Ryan Duffy with the fumble recovery.
And that was bound to happen, Chuck. I mentioned it earlier from the very beginning when they started employing that Wildcat offense, you know, that they had trouble with those snaps. Almost every one of them was shaky and slightly sloppy. You could tell Harrell's just not used to taking those snaps, especially not from the shotgun formation, and that was just bound to happen eventually.
Well, things coming to an end here for the Whippets as the Cougar offense will come out to the football. As it looks as though Eddie Kozlowski will take these final snaps and run the clock. They go right up the middle with the ball carrier being Wade Mastrug. As we're down to 40 seconds remaining and the clock continues to roll for Downingtown East. They look like they're going to come away with their 7th victory of the season, and more importantly, they will go to 7-1. They will tie the series up at 4 apiece. As the Cougars, very impressive, especially on that defensive side of the football that really set the tempo as they come away with the victory here at the Battle of Brandywine, as they like to call it here from Kottmeyer Stadium. The battle is won by the Cougars.
Yeah, it was a great game, and it was a lot of fun to watch for sure. The excitement stayed up the entire game. To credit the Downingtown West fans and support group, they stayed in the game with the team the entire time. You look over that sideline, and those players never gave up. They battled throughout the entire game, and that's what it's all about, especially at the high school football level. It's about battling. It's about getting down into the trenches. You know, a personal game like this, a crosstown rivalry type game, you know, you want to come out on top, but still, the Whippets fought hard tonight, and the Cougars were just a better team.
Well, the Cougars next week will be facing off with Westchester East as the Downingtown West Whippets will face Coatesville. And that will be a tough contest here in the Chesmont League, that is for sure. But a very exciting game, especially if you're a Cougar fan. The offense really lit up the scoreboard. Kyle Loletta, our player of the game. He found Jay Harris 4 times, as well as Riley Angeline, the sophomore halfback, 6'3", 190 pounds. Has a couple of touchdowns, one from 1 yard out and the other from 3 yard out. Well, there's your final score, 44-14. We'll come back with more right after this, all a part of the Chesmont Sports Network.
Okay, all right, go ahead down and tell the truck, all right?
Hi, I'm Megan Treit of Thorndale at Tip. Want to drastically increase your business? Join us for a free lunch to find out how. We are a professional lead generating organization called The Tip. We meet every Tuesday from 11:30 to 1 at the Thorndale Inn in Downingtown. Join us for a free lunch and see for yourself. Visit us online at www.thorndaleatip.com.
Battle of Brandywine was won by the Cougars of Downingtown East, and the junior signal caller, Kyle Oletta, he did yeoman's work.
Oh, he had a monster game, and as we talked about earlier, he's definitely our player of the game. No doubt that his leadership was what led the Cougars to this victory tonight. You got solid play on inside and outside on the offense and defense, but Loletta really just led that team down the field when he needed to, scored in opportunities, to capitalize on opportunities that they had in crucial situations, and his arm just never let him down all night tonight. He was throwing that thing on a lace to Jay Harris all night long, and that hookup tended to be a winning one.
Yeah, 4 touchdown passes to Jay Harris from Kyle Loletta. 2 other touchdowns came by way of the ground. The sophomore, Riley Angeline, what a job he did, because he really set the tempo for the offense led by Kyle Loletta.
Well, it's interesting because since Drew Harris went out of the lineup with that injury, Loletta has actually been the leading rusher coming into this game for the Cougars. And it started out with a lot of draw plays, a lot of opportunities for Loletta to keep the ball in his hands and use his own legs to create plays. We were talking about it earlier about how they really kind of needed eventually to get away from that draw play scenario because West was going to key in on it. And just when it felt like maybe the Whippets had keyed in on it, they start pounding Angeline, and he's just as effective, if not more so. Had a great game. As a young kid, as a sophomore, you step up in a situation like this, and he was completely unperturbed.
Well, the unsung heroes in this ball game was the offensive line for Downingtown East. What a job they have done. It was yeoman's work, really just clearing the way for Riley Angeline to come up with a couple of big touchdowns on the ground. And hats off to what job they did tonight.
Yeah, they're big, physical line, and they're older. They've been playing together for a couple of years, and you could tell because they've got chemistry. They do everything that they're asked to do. Their assignments are always carried out, and they never stop, whistle to whistle. That was the most impressive thing to me about the Cougars tonight on both sides of the ball, but specifically about the offensive line. We talked a little bit about how sometimes you would see them driving their blocks down the field 20 yards past the play, and that's what you have to do. That's how you break those big plays for guys like Angeline and Harris, your playmakers. And I just can't say enough about how effective that they were.
Well, we give all the accolades to the Cougar offense, but the defense really set the table in that first quarter. They come up with the safety. Obviously, Fajoli comes up with the safety. And then Jamie Como with a fumble recovery and interception. Nick Dudley with a couple of big hits. Just a total team effort on the defensive side of the football.
Yeah, and you said it. They set the tone early with that safety, and that really just was able to create a train for them to just ride out throughout the entire rest of the game. And they stayed consistent, and they really didn't falter at any point or make any crucial mistakes that could set them back. And when you're a team who executes like they do and you set the tone early on like that, yeah, nobody's going to score many more than 14 points on you.
And we talk about defense because one person that we should also highlight is every time the Whippet defense came up big, Eddie Kozlowski came up with a big punt. How many times did he get that ball within the 5-yard line that really made it difficult for the Whippet offense to really get on track?
I feel like it absolutely is rare for us to be talking about a punter and their impact in the game at this high school level, but he really did such a fantastic job. We talked a little bit about how he was kind of coffin cornering those kicks, and maybe East got a lot of fortuitous bounces. Maybe there was a little bit of luck on their side tonight, but at the same time, he kept doing his job, and he did it really well. And again, it just goes back to the effectiveness of discipline and execution.
That is definitely the case, and we know we're going to try to get a hold of the junior signal caller down on the field with Alicia McDougall. She's going to try to catch up with also the head coach for Downingtown East, and Alicia McDougall is down on the sidelines, so let's go down as she catches up with Mike Mata.
Coach Motto, congratulations for your big win tonight. Is there anything, or sorry about that, was there a strategy to your win tonight?
We really thought that we were more physical than they were, so we thought if we could really control the ball and pound it on the running game, we'd have a chance. And we felt if we did that and took a couple chances up top with Jay Harris, we thought we'd be okay, and I think that's what panned out.
Well, congratulations. You now have the bragging rights.
Well, thank you very much. Our kids played really hard. Hats off to Downingtown West. Those kids never quit. They played hard. They're a well-coached outfit. I think it's a great rivalry with 2 great first-class programs.
Congratulations. Thank you. Hi, how are you, Kyle? Good. So what was your biggest challenge tonight? You had 4 touchdowns. You had 70 pushing yards.
I mean, at the beginning, throwing an interception, that's not what we want, obviously, there. But, just to keep my composure and, bounce back is really what I was looking for.
So how do you plan on celebrating your win?
I have no idea. I'm not doing that. But no, I think we won all three phases of the game tonight. You know, offense, defense, and special teams. You know, at the line of scrimmage, we take pride in those big guys up front. And I think offensively and defensively on the line, we won tonight. So I think that's where the credit should go to tonight.
Well, congratulations and thank you. Back to Chuck.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Alicia. As we'll take a look at our final statistics here for tonight's contest, all a part of the Battle of Brandywine. And here they are. You can see Kyle Lauletta's stats. Very impressive. As you mentioned, Jake, he really led the way, and he was the total leader for this Cougar offense.
Yeah, close to 240 all-purpose yards. I mean, that's a major night for anybody, but when you could do it with numbers like 70 rushing and a balance between that and like 160-something in passing, mostly on big plays, it means he doesn't have to do it too often. He didn't have to wear his arm out with too many attempts. He hit the ones that he hit the opportunities that he had. He took care of business. Can't say enough about this kid tonight. It was absolutely outstanding performance.
And you see Jay Harris, 4 of those catches were for touchdowns. He caught one from 28 yards out, 31 yards out, 25, and 5 yards out. And as mentioned, that third touchdown at the end of the first half was definitely one of the prettiest catches we've seen all year.
Oh, yeah, probably the play of the year for sure as far as we've seen. Again, he ran a beautiful route. He used his speed and athleticism to do something that he knew nobody else on that field could do. And when you've got that kind of confidence in your abilities, good things will always happen, especially when you've got a quarterback like Lauletta who has the ability to put the ball on the spot and knows that you're going to grab it.
While we talk about the Battle of Brandywine, we'll take a look at the hardware, and there it is. There is the trophy that represents this rivalry between East and West. And that's going to wrap up our telecast here from Kottmeyer Stadium. For our director, Brian Patterson, our executive producers, Al Ray Johnson, as well as Bruce McClendon, our sideline reporter, Alicia McDougall, and my partner, Jay Collar, I'm Chuck Curlin. Thanks for watching the Chestnut Sports Network Game of the Week.